Welcome to HOJO Radio.
Say, want a brand new breakfast idea? Then get the Betty Crocker cereal tray, the Betty Crocker cereal tray. Yes, indeed. Try the brand new cereal assortment with 10 individual packages in all. 4 Wheaties, 4 Cheerios, 2 Kicks. All top favorites and all extra fresh. Yes, it's fun to take your pick from Wheaties, Cheerios, and Kicks. Get the Betty Crocker cereal tray, the Betty Crocker cereal tray. Get that tray today.
The Adventures of Frank Race. Starring Tom Collins. The war changed many things, the face of the earth and the people on it. Before the war, Frank Race worked as an attorney, but he traded his law books for the cloak and dagger of the OSS. And when it was over, his former life was over, too. Adventure had become his business. The Adventures of Frank Race. And now we join Frank Race for the Istanbul adventure.
There are men who'll tell you they've seen the city die. And it's hard to find argument for their words. Our population has dwindled to half between the wars. Our trade has dried to a trickle. But somehow, with a wet night engulfing crooked streets and shadowy bazaars, I was feeling the old exhilaration and expectant sense of violence. As always, Istanbul.
Here, this doorway.
Rather close.
You're very helpful.
Cigarette?
Yes, thank you.
Light?
What is it?
I'm intrigued. A woman comes out in the night. A woman who pursued the bullets. She turns out to be lovely.
If you don't mind, I must go.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll go with you.
No, please.
Oh, now look, tomorrow I'm leaving Turkey, but tonight you need help.
It's not for me. It's for a friend. A friend who's in trouble, an American like yourself.
American?
He's hurt, badly hurt. I think he's dying.
Well, let's get him a doctor.
That's why I'm trying to get out of this sector. I know a physician who will go to him.
I'll get you out. Come on.
Wait, listen. They've come back.
Who's they? Here, let me get clear. Move behind me. Yeah.
Hey, Ray!
Oh.
And I thought I knew my way around. This is worse than driving a hack in Boston.
Yeah, it's all right. His name's Donovan. He's Brooklyn Irish and does harmless.
Hey, what goes on? Where are you, Frank?
Right here. Where have you been?
Oh, where have I been, he wants to know. I am out with a man just because he wants to go walking and he disappears. Where have I been?
I happened to turn up a side street while you were gaping in some window. I imagined you'd follow.
What do you say we start grinding back at the hotel, huh? Even with this slicker on, I'm beginning to feel like a blotter. Hey, who's this?
And come to think of it, we don't know each other's name, do we? I'm Frank Race.
I'm Lisa Kruger.
What's the story, Ray?
I don't know all of it, Mark. But there's an American nearby who needs medical help. We're going to get him a doctor. There are people around here who might try to stop us.
And you talked me out of bringing along my end wrench.
From another section of the city, Liesl made a phone call. Within 15 minutes, we were joined with the physician. He was young and tall and dark, with a face you felt you could believe in. Liesl introduced him as Dr. Amarand.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you for helping Liesl. I believe we shall manage all right now.
It might be harder getting back into that sector than it was getting out. We'd better stick with you. The rain had stopped, and with it had gone the freshness of the night. With no wind stirring, the street smelled fetid, oppressive. There was no lift to the blackness, and you got the feeling of continually being about to walk into something. Then there was a gate. Beyond it, a small light coming from what looked like a stable. Mark and I were asked to wait, and the other two left us.
You know, I wonder if we're going to get a chance to cancel them reservations.
What reservations?
On the boat.
Why should we want to cancel?
Race, I got to look at that girl. You won't be taking no boat tomorrow. Which, to me, is kind of sad.
Here she comes.
Come, Race. You want your friend? I told the American about you, Race. He wants to talk to you.
He is too weak to say much, Mr. Race. If you will kneel down.
What's his name, Doctor?
Dwyer. Johnny Dwyer.
Hi, Johnny.
Hiya, fella. Where you from?
I work out of New York. I was born in Indiana.
Hey, sounds like home. I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
Who hurt you, Johnny?
Some bad ones, fella. Pulling a bad deal. Liesel and Doc will tell you they're great people.
He'd better not speak anymore.
On the candle!
Come out of it, Race. Come out of it, will you? Oh, that's better.
Oh. What happened to me?
Well, you won't need to part your hair for a while, not the way that slug creased your head.
Where's Liesel? And the doctor?
I guess they got away. The doc got in a lick, too, hey? One of them visitors is as dead as a smoked herring.
And what about Johnny? Johnny Dwyer?
He's dead, too, Frank. I don't know what these people are playing, but it ain't post office, Frank. It ain't post office.
As Mark had prophesied, we missed our boat because I went looking for Liesel. I spent almost a week at it before giving up, after which I lapsed into an inertia of just lying around the hotel.
Look, I never knew you to get this low over a dame before. Why not think about other things, huh? Here, I brought up a telegram for you.
Yeah, read it to me.
All right. Hey, who is Anthony Woolwine?
Tony Woolwine. He's an executive for Intercontinental Underwriters.
Yeah, well, he wants to see you. Urgent.
Well, that means you get your wish about Fifth Avenue.
Don't sound like New York to me. This is from France. Someplace called Cannes.
Cannes. It's on the Riviera, not far from Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo? Where all that high-powered gambling goes on?
The same.
Oh, no kidding. Well, look, if it's all right with you, I just as soon postpone seeing Fifth Avenue for a little while.
Tony Woolwine. A nice guy who always seemed to be where there was sunshine. At Cannes, he had everything to go with the climate. Rambling villa, lots of ground around it, lots of swimming pool taking up the ground. He greeted me in bathing trunks and a tan that made everything about him seem brown but his grin.
It may look like a holiday, Frank, but I'm not over here just for laughs.
I've been wondering why you sent for me.
Tomorrow you embark on a dirty job.
Well, that's fair warning. Thanks.
Do you mind if I make a personal observation?
Go ahead. You got me under your spell.
You don't seem to have your usual eye out for the ladies. And here I've been thinking that this crop I gathered was unusually bounteous.
Yeah, with your usual discernment, you've provided both quantity and quality. I've noticed. Particularly that bit of symmetry near the dining board.
In the black suit? Ah, that's better. Now I'll stop fretting. Oh, there's somebody I want you to meet. Chuck?
Yeah?
Come on over here. It's a flyer I'd like to have you know. You like him. He's offered to help us out on this task I mentioned.
Hi.
Chuck, I want you to know Frank Race. Chuck Farrell, Frank Race.
Oh,
Farrell,
how do you do?
How are you?
And I am Liesel Kruger.
She stood there quietly, utterly composed. An exquisite figure in a black bathing suit. She had been the one who'd drawn my comment, the one by the diving board. She looked young, younger than she had in Istanbul. And her loveliness in the stare of the sun was something to take the breath out of you.
Where, oh, where did we find this? Woolwine, you've been holding out on us. Hey, look beautiful.
We thought you were dead, Race, when we saw you go down with the blood all over your face.
Blood all over your face.
You got away all right? You and the doctor?
Hammeran's arm was broken by a bullet. We got away. We couldn't have done it had not you and your friend been there to confuse him.
I realize this must be some sort of a reunion,
Is
but...
Race the man you were telling me of, Tony?
Oh, yes, Race is the man.
You mean there's a tie-up here somewhere?
Well, my side of it is purely insurance. The companies had to pay off claims on 3 large shipments of food, clothing, and medical supplies coming to Europe from the United States. We don't want to have to refuse insurance on future shipments, but naturally we can't keep that up. So we've got to solve the problem.
I take it these shipments weren't lost at sea.
Liesl, now it's your turn.
Well, it's the same thing that has been choking Europe to death for so long, Race. Black market. The last year it seems to have come under the control of one organization. All over the continent.
Is this what you've been fighting? You and Dr. Amaran?
Yes. To Americans, the black market might seem vicious. But I'm sure it seems impersonal. A blight that doesn't really touch. But with us... Well, I had a brother. All I had left of my family. And a year ago he became ill of pneumonia. I was assured that if he received penicillin, he would live.
It's usually effective.
I got him the penicillin, Race. At a price very hard for me to pay. I got him the penicillin. But he died. At the age of 19.
Oh, I'm sorry, Liesl.
He died because the drug was worthless.
What happened to those shipments that were lost?
Destroyed. Cargo, train, and crew. Nothing left each time but smoldering ashes.
I don't get it. What happened to them?
The black market would have stolen those shipments, but they knew it would be too difficult. So they destroy them. Nobody knows how, because the train crews are always killed. And then the black marketeers get their high prices with shoddy clothes and bad food and synthetic medicine.
Sounds like a rough bunch.
Race knows how rough they can be. He saw some of their work in Istanbul.
There'll be 2 more trains going through this month. One on the 19th, the other on the 27th.
They must not be destroyed, Race. Listen to me. There is an epidemic of diphtheria breaking out through the western portion of France. Unless those trains get through with diphtheria toxides, thousands of children are going to die.
We'll return to the adventures of Frank Race in about 1 minute. And now, back to the adventures of Frank Race.
The coastline of the Riviera is like no other place in the world. But for me, Liesl Kruger made it even more glamorous. Glamour. It was a quality she would carry with her wherever she went, heightening it with her beauty and a willingness to involve herself in lethal danger for a cause without profit.
There's no other spot like this, Race. For me, that is. You've probably seen other places just as lovely, just as unique.
As lovely? Yes. As unique? Not quite.
Oh, it's such a beautiful evening.
Liesl,
Yes, Race?
how do I get my teeth into this fight of yours? Where do I start?
Haman. Haman can tell you more about it even than I.
Where is he?
In Toulon. He would be happy to see you.
You seem very close, you and the doctor.
Well, when 2 persons share the dangers we have shared, there will naturally be a bond. But I'm not in love with him. If that is what you mean, Race.
Why do you do it, Liesl?
Why do I fight? That was my brother. And I suppose there's something else. Something it would be hard to put into words. You should know. You have the same feeling.
I get paid for what I do.
Oh, do you always get paid? Who paid you for helping us in Istanbul?
Get out of it, Liesl. Let Amaran fight them. Let me fight them. But you get out of it.
Why do you say that?
We stood facing one another. And over my shoulder, the moonlight spotlighted the terrific face of hers, with its provocative lips and frame of thick, lustrous hair. I didn't grab her. I reached for her gently, and everything took time out for a while.
I meant that, Race.
So did I. And I'm asking you again to pull out of this business.
Race, I can't. I've got to stay with it to the end. No matter what the end may be.
You awake yet, Frank?
Yeah, come in.
You're being invaded.
What's up?
We thought you might like to look the country over from the air. How long will it take you to dress?
A quarter of an hour. Where's the plane?
Oh, not more than 20 minutes from here.
Oh, what have you got?
A salvage job I picked up. A P-47.
Some ship, Frank. Chuck thought he was getting a bargain when he bought that ice wagon. Lots of power, and he bought it for dimes. The payoff is that operating it will keep him in hock for the rest of his life.
P-47 adds up to a lot of planes.
I wouldn't have anything else. She pays her way.
Say, what's wrong with your hand, Chuck? When'd you do that?
Oh, I nicked it as I was gassing up the other day. It's a little swollen.
A little swollen. You'd better do something about it, Chuck.
Tomorrow. Today I want to fly.
Chuck, since this is just a tour of duty with no destination, would you like to drop me in Toulon for a couple of hours?
Toulon? Why, sure.
I'll be calling on a doctor there. We'll get him to take a look at that hand of yours. Amaran stared at me when he saw me. His left hand hung in a sling. One of his eyes was almost shut with a bruise that extended down the whole side of his face.
Race, but we thought that...
You thought I'd been killed, Liesl told me.
Liesl, you've seen her. Oh, why do we stand here? Come in.
She told me where to find you.
Oh?
I'm in this with you now, all the way. And there's an American insurance company behind me.
Oh, thank heaven. You cannot know how much we need help.
Tell me about Johnny Dwyer. Where did he fit in? What happened to him?
Well, he was, first of all, an idealist. So many of you Americans are. And he knew how to fight. So they murdered him.
What was he doing in Istanbul?
He'd learned too much. So the black marketeers chased him from here.
From Toulon? Is that why you're here?
Yes. Johnny Dwyer stayed at a quayside hotel there, a rat trap called the Charbonnier. Why he went there, Liesl and I never learned. Too many things happened too rapidly. But it was from the Charbonnier that they hounded him. First to Marseille, then to Rome, then to Istanbul. It was from Rome that we got his call for help and word to meet him in Turkey. You know what happened there.
The Hotel Charbonnier. I imagine they know you there.
Oh, I wish I could say I knew them as well.
You have no idea of an identity behind it?
Oh, nothing worth a sou. We've dealt with one or two, but they were no more than underlings. We learned nothing.
I'm going to take lodgings at the Hotel Charbonnier with a friend who was with me in Istanbul.
There must be a safer way.
But none quicker than I can see. And now, I wonder if I may ask a favor of you.
Anything.
The pilot who flew me over here has a bad hand, an infection. I wish you'd look at it.
Well, he's here with you?
He'll remain in his plane, but I've got a cab outside.
Well, then let us go to him.
We found Chuck Farrell leaning against the fuselage of his P-47. In his hand, a silver flask with which he waved at us as we came up. Amaran, smiling as I introduced them, tightened his lips seriously when he saw the hand. He made a clinic of the 47's cockpit, taking Chuck's temperature and otherwise thoroughly checking his patient's condition.
You have absorbed quite a little alcohol lately, huh?
Oh, I guess I've been doing all right. Why? Come on, Doc. Brief me on this.
When did you have an inoculation for tetanus last?
Never had one that I know of.
You were not in your army?
No. Do I have tetanus coming on?
It's possible.
Bad, huh?
Since you have received no toxoids, then I can bolster an inoculation with antitoxin. It's indicated.
Well, then let's have it. Will it make me sick?
It may not. Depending on your sensitivity to it. You should not fly this plane.
Oh, ever been checked out in a P-47 race?
Yeah.
Good. Then you can ferry us back.
Well, possibly Dr. Amaran will come over and check your condition in a day or so.
Of course. And when will you keep the rendezvous we discussed?
As soon as I can pry Mark Donovan loose from those Monte Carlo gaming tables. There are parks and promenades in Toulon, all handsome. There's the view of the sea. There's the cathedral and other old churches and a fine town hall. And not far from its docks, on a crooked street, forgotten by all but the police, and a few citizens who would prefer that the police also forgot it, stands the Hotel Charbonnier, as dubious a hostel as you'll find anywhere along the Mediterranean.
I will say just one thing. If I'd have known I was leaving Monte Carlo for this... Honest, Race, I think I'd have run out on you.
Now, cheer up, Mark. You'll find after a while the place grows on you.
Something's been growing on me. And it ain't my disposition. If I could only get me a cup of coffee.
Why don't you look around?
I've been looking around. There's wine everywhere. You can wade in this stuff. But not one drop of coffee. I gotta find some somewhere. Hey. A note under the door.
Let me have it.
Where's it from?
Dr. Amaron. He wants me to go to him at once. Something urgent. You wait here.
Oh, come inside, Race.
What is it? Trouble?
Worse than that. Tragedy. Look over there.
Liesel. She's been hurt. What is it, Amaron? What happened to her?
She's dying, Race. She got here about an hour ago. She's been trying to tell me what happened, but she's had only strength enough to say your name.
You've got to save her.
I've done everything I can, Race. Talk to her. She will hear you. She wants to hear you.
I had a lot of things to say to her, but if she ever heard any of them, there was no sign. After a while, I gave it up and went back to the Hotel Charbonnier. There in the musty hallway.
Race.
What? No. It's you, Mark.
Come here, will you? Gotta have a look in here. I heard this morning that this place used to be a cafe, see? So I started poking around in the basement, thinking I might accidentally run across some coffees. Gotta move these crates first. And then this door. Can you squeeze through?
Yeah. What have you got?
Take a look at what I got. An arsenal. Rifles, pistols, submachine guns, even shells. Look at this one, will you?
Shell? That's no shell, Mark. That's a rocket.
What's the matter?
Oh, what a fool I've been. Chuck Farrell and his P-47.
What are you talking about?
P-47's Thunderbolts. Along with the British Typhoons, they were the top rocket-firing planes of the war. Rockets for knocking out tanks and trains. Trains, Mark, do you hear that?
Certainly I hear it, but
Chuck Farrell, he destroyed the supply trains. And I've been eating with him, drinking with him, flying with him.
Wait a second.
What is it?
So now, you must have found out what we're doing.
Here, then. Load this pistol. You're going out through that window up there. When you get clear, fire 2 shots, you understand? Then head for Woolwine. Tell him about this whole setup.
Now, wait a minute. You can boost me up to that window, but what about you? How you going to get out of it?
Give me a foot and get going. Here.
Okay, I'm up.
Get clear to the street before you signal.
Yeah, but what are you going to do?
Hold him off with this Tommy gun. Get going.
Okay, I'm going.
Okay, one more rush to get that door open. Race,
What can I do for you?
it's Chuck Farrell.
Nice to have you aboard.
That machine gun won't do you any good, Race. I've got a dozen boys here. We'll smoke you out if we have to.
Farrell, listen.
All right, I'm listening.
You heard that shot?
Yeah, I heard it. So what?
That's a friend of mine, signaling that he's clear of here. He's going to Woolwine to tell him how you've been using that P-47 to destroy those trains with rockets.
All right, Race. I'm coming in. Alone. And empty-handed.
Make sure your people stay out.
Now, relax, Race. You're getting lost. With Woolwine knowing about the rockets, why should I sweat out a lost cause?
Always play the cool hand. Is that the philosophy, Farrell?
Why not? We'll work out other deals. I've made plenty of money, and I've still got it. What can you do? Extradite me? Nuts. Of course, you might turn that chatterbox on me. But you're not the type for that. Are you, Race?
I don't have to be, Chuck. You're all taken care of.
What do you mean?
You look sort of feverish.
What? Sure, I'm feverish. I've got tetanus. But I've been treated for it. You took care of that.
I know. I saw you, Doctor, about an hour ago. He was trying to save the life of a lovely girl you murdered.
I didn't do that, Race.
You were part of it. The same way you've been part of murdering a lot of other people, including kids. But you finished, Chuck. Amaran said you weren't in shape for a bout with tetanus.
Stop trying to annoy me. I took that antitoxin, didn't I?
Dr. Amaran learned this morning that the antitoxin he gave you was worthless.
Worthless?
It was worthless because it came through your own black market channels. And there's none available that'll be effective. Not until a new supply arrives from America in 15 days. And in 15 days, Chuck, I have a feeling you won't be around.
The Adventures of Frank Race, starring Tom Collins, came to you from Hollywood. The series is written and directed by Buckley Angel and Joel Murcott. The music is composed and played by Ivan Ditmars. Be sure to be with us again this time, 1 week from today, for another dramatic chapter in The Adventures of Frank Race. Art Gilmore speaking. This is a Bruce Ells production.
I'd like to say a few words about health. Over 50% of all family colds can be traced to uneven heat or overheating in the home. So protect your family's health by burning blue coal, America's finest anthracite. Then you will be sure of steady, lasting, healthful heat at less cost. The next time you order fuel, ask for blue coal by name. You don't have to get a full supply. Your nearest blue coal dealer will be glad to send you a trial ton. Phone him tomorrow.
HOJO Radio. We're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
The Adventures of Frank Race, starring Tom Collins. The war changed many things. The face of the earth and the people on it. Before the war, Frank Race worked as an attorney, but he traded his law books for the cloak and dagger of the OSS. And when it was over, his former life was over, too. Adventure had become his business. The Adventures of Frank Race. We join Frank Race for the adventure of 17 Black.
Saratoga, city of sport and health, where you can watch the thoroughbreds come thundering into the stretch or increase your physical efficiency with its spring water and sunshine. But my sport of the moment wasn't taking place in the sunshine. And I'm afraid the healthful effect of its atmosphere was rather dubious.
Number 17, Black. Now you're coming up, Mr. Race.
Yeah, it's about time after what I've dropped here tonight. I'll let that ride again.
Aha! At last I find you.
Oh, hello, Mark. Thought you were in New York.
Place your bets, please.
I was sent up here to find you. We gotta get going. Come on.
Won't you hurry? I'm busy.
You're gonna be busy. You've got a hasty task for Universal Indemnity. The embezzlement job, and they want you right now.
Number 17, Black. Looks like you're in the groove, Mr. Race.
I've got luck on my shoulder. Leave it right there, Eddie. I'm letting it ride.
Oh, no, he ain't, Eddie. Push it this way. We are heading for New York.
Yeah, but, Mark, I'm just beginning to win.
You ain't gonna win by leaving it there. Let's blow. This is important.
Place your bets, please.
Yeah, well, suppose you're right. Come on.
Certainly I'm right. Nobody can keep playing one number on that thing. It just ain't in the books.
Yeah, hold it a second.
17, black.
You see what I Hey, you won again.
Yeah, I would have won if you hadn't picked up the bet.
Hey, look, maybe we ought to go back and play that thing for a while, huh? You're hot.
Come on, Mark. We're heading for New York. Who talked to you from the insurance company, Reed?
Yeah, Chester A. Reed. I told him you wanted a little time to yourself, but he said I was to get you anyway. He told me all about it, see, so I could brief you.
What's the story?
Some guy keeping books for a construction outfit took 70 G's of the company's money. He was bonded with Universal.
Reed wants me to go after him, huh?
No, not the guy. He's dead. Suicide. Reed wants you should see if you can find the dough.
Yeah, at Universal Indemnity, I ain't got the details. The alleged embezzler had been a man named O'Connor with a home in Yonkers. I had Mark drive me over there to see his wife.
What's the use of talking about it? Johnny's dead. After a while, I suppose I'll be able to tell myself I've still got a baby.
Baby?
He's a year old.
How you fix for money?
I've got the rent for another month. Got some ground meat for supper. Guess I'll have to get a job pretty soon.
Didn't your husband have insurance?
$8,000 worth. But we'll never get any of it. Not if they call him suicide.
Oh, that should have occurred to me. How did he die, Mrs. O'Connor?
He was found in the garage, shot in the car. Carbon monoxide.
I see.
They'll never convince me that he committed suicide. Not Johnny. He enjoyed life too much. Why, he was right in the middle of making a crib for the baby. And if he stole that money, where is it?
Well, I understand there was a confession.
A fake. Even if it is in Johnny's handwriting. Here it is.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking the only way out. When they audit my records, they'll find I've misappropriated $70,000. Try to forgive me, Johnny.
He never took that money.
Well, possibly not, but it's missing. And your husband is dead. If we're going to prove him innocent, you'll have to help me.
Oh, I'll do anything.
Did your husband have any friends in the company or particular enemies?
Irving Dalton, the chief accountant. He always treated Johnny like a laborer. See, Johnny used to carry a hod, but when the baby was coming, he took a night school course in bookkeeping to better himself.
Did Dalton hire your husband?
No. T.J. Thomas does the hiring. He's general manager.
Does Thomas have a financial interest in the company?
I think he owns a third. The rest of it belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Maynard.
Well, possibly Mr. Thomas can help a little. I'll see him tomorrow. In the meantime, take this.
Oh, no. I couldn't.
We'll call it a loan. You've got that youngster to think about. And for the time being, stay with your baby and forget about getting a job. Take me back to the city, Mark.
What's cooking?
Know anything about a family named Maynard?
Certainly a hard bunch to get along with. The old man's a retired cement finisher. See, the boys, they don't believe in labor of any kind.
No, you're working in the wrong neighborhood. The Maynards I refer to are the big-time contractors.
Oh, big shots. No, I know. Hey, Race.
What is it?
That sedan behind us. What's that they're waving out the window? It's a Tommy gun.
Right. You better do some twisting. They're waving it at us.
I'm doing the best I can. You got a gun?
In my hand. But against that firepower...
He's gaining on me, Race. We're going to get it. Race, you okay?
Let me get my arm free.
Let me help.
He's coming up with that machine gun.
He's lining us up, Race. He's gonna... You got him. The other guy's running.
Watch out. I didn't kill that one. Just hit him in the leg.
Yeah, but he lost the chatterbox. We're okay. Yeah. Let me help you out. Yeah. Easy now. Take it easy. Okay. What kind of a deal is this anyway?
Looks like a lethal deal, Mark. Somebody's playing for big keeps. You didn't go to an ordinary lumber yard to find the offices of the Maynard Construction Company. They took up half the 14th floor of a skyscraper. I was impressed by the handsome paneling, the ancestral portraits, and the cocktail party that was going on. Well, the place was rocking. It was only after quite a bit of elbow fencing I was able to force my way to a waiter. He promised to locate T.J. Thomas for me, but it was at least 15 minutes before I got a reaction.
Mr. Race?
That's right.
I'm Irving Dalton, chief accountant for the firm. You have been moving around, so you're a little dazed. You didn't come here on business, I hope, not this afternoon.
What are you celebrating? Lifting of a mortgage?
Just a little party in honor of State Senator Humphreys.
All this for a state senator? What would you do for a governor?
I understand you want to see Mr. Thomas.
Yes, T.J. Thomas. General manager, isn't he?
That's correct, but you see...
And it says general manager on this door.
It also says private, Mr. Rayson, if you don't mind.
That's a long elevator ride up here. I'd like to conclude my business this time.
So, if you ask me, I don't think it's a good idea.
Really, darling? No one asked you.
Hold it a second. If you don't mind, this is rather private. Sort of board meeting.
No, I don't mind at all. I'm most anxious to talk to the board.
Now, wait a minute.
My name's Race. I represent the Universal Indemnity Company. I'm here concerning the claim on your bookkeeper, O'Connor.
Oh. Well, in that case...
Come right in, Mr. Race. I'm Sandra Maynard. This is Mr. Thomas, our general manager, and my husband, Arthur Maynard.
What do you want to know, Race?
Several things. But first, I'd like to express a personal opinion. Your bookkeeper didn't steal anything, and he didn't commit suicide. He was murdered.
Dear me. Headlines. Headlines. Sandra, my darling, your Welfare League group will buzz about this one.
Oh, Arthur, shut up.
This is very interesting. Are you ready to prove that someone else misappropriated the money, Mr. Race?
Not yet. But that much money doesn't just disappear.
There's an outright case of embezzlement. The books speak for themselves.
I should think so.
Oh, of course. You know all about the records, don't you, darling?
I don't know what keeps me from clawing your face off. And I'm warning you, Arthur, if you don't stop...
Witnessing marital Donna Brooks has never been to my liking, so I eased out of the room. And bumped into as delectable a bit of fabric as I'd encountered in several days. A tawny blonde with a benign eye.
You look sort of grim.
You know those people in there?
Sandra and Arthur Maynard? Sure, I know them.
What's the pitch on the relationship?
You sound like someone sent out to watch the silver.
And I've run into a defendant of the family honor.
Oh, not me. I know them, but I don't play in their yard. And never will.
They don't get along. It's embarrassing.
Well, that's because they're going to be divorced. He used to be her teacher at college. I guess they never straightened it out.
Make quite a clatter out of it, don't they?
This whole party has turned into a clatter. I think I'll go home. You care to come along?
Most encouraging invitation I've had in weeks. Lead on, fair lady. Lead on.
What's the matter with that cab driver back there? Sounded like he was putting up quite a squawk.
Mark? No, he's a very unreasonable fellow. Just because he waited half an hour for me, he felt he should drive us to your apartment.
When I've got my own car. He must be nuts.
Yeah, it's a night to send anybody by me, Doris. Full moon, sky full of stars. Perfect night for romance. Or murder.
What makes you say that?
Just a thought. Do you, always carry so much luggage in your car?
I'm a nightclub singer. I'm going away for an engagement.
Oh, too bad.
Well, come with me.
What'd I do, push your piano around?
Race.
Yeah, maybe I should come along and push your piano around.
Come inside. Hold me, Race.
Delighted. But first, let's have a little light.
What are you doing?
Removing this pistol from your purse. What is it? Part of the new look?
Oh, Race, don't be like that. I'll go for you if you let me. I might even postpone going away.
How would you like to talk about a man named Johnny O'Connor? And $70,000.
I might. There's something that might interest you in the bottom drawer of that bureau.
Seems to be stuck.
So are you, sucker. Nice work, Doris. Now we can get rid of this chump for good.
We'll return to the adventures of Frank Race in just about 1 minute. And now, back to the adventures of Frank Race.
I came alive regretfully. The hazy conviction that my head had grown at least double and was still trying to expand. I told myself irritably this was no procedure for establishing Johnny O'Connor's innocence, nor securing his insurance for his wife and child. Then I caught voices, and I knew my best bet would be to play dead.
Any sign of life back there, Rocky?
Nah, he's out cold.
Better take a look and see if he's coming to.
Relax. Will you? When I slug them, they stay out for hours.
Well, flash a light on him and make sure.
Okay. Out cold as a mackerel.
Here's the top of the hill.
You, want him up front, don't you?
Yeah, right behind the wheel here. Give me a hand. There we go.
Oh, this guy's big.
He's hard to lift, all right. Let's give another heave. Yeah, it's good. Now pour the liquor open.
This ain't no new idea, you know. It's got to be done right or the cops get hep.
It's good enough. Now put the car in high.
I want to stay. Watch it go through that guardrail on the curb.
Nothing doing. We're getting out of here.
All set.
Okay, then let it go.
I said to grab the wheel, but the lurch of the car fooled me, threw me sideways in the seat. I tried getting up, but the reflexes were off. That curve. I had to get control. If I didn't... Don't ever do that to yourself. I just sat there for a few seconds. Then I staggered to a phone booth and asked Mark to come out and meet me.
All I can say is it was your own fault. Might have been tagging along, it probably never would have even happened. I warn you about that dame.
Well, she's very attractive, Mark. In spite of what occurred, I shall continue to think of her wistfully.
Nah, she had a look. You know me, I never miss on dames.
I agree.
As the poet says, they're the most dangerous species.
Most dangerous of the species, Mark.
You take it from me, they ain't of anything. When it comes to working angles, dames are all by themselves. What are we gonna do with his car?
Take it back.
It ain't cracked up as much as my cab was. Ain't a bad car at all. Whose is it?
The registration says it belongs to Thomas and Humphreys. Used car sales.
That's where we're taking it? At midnight? The joint will be shut tight in Atlantic City in December.
Well, let's get inside.
You know something? They could call this breaking and entering.
You mind?
Not so long as the cause is just. They need a new door here. You want my flashlight?
Yeah, street light's enough. You take that filing cabinet and see if you can find any papers on the car. I'll try the desk.
Okay. How do they file these things? By license number, make a car, what? I ain't having no luck.
Never mind. Take a look at this.
What do you got?
Here's a registration application for the car. Made out in my name. According to this, I own it.
Then unload it as soon as you can. It needs new rings and a rebore.
A tight little arrangement.
Look, I don't get it.
I do. If I'd been killed tonight, Mark, this slip would have been mailed to the Motor Vehicle Bureau in the morning. It would have covered my accident very nicely.
Uh-oh. Looks like you're up against tough pitching, right?
And there's more to this than just the missing $70,000. I wonder if I could squeeze any information out of Sandra Maynard.
Squeeze? Another dame? In this case, chum, that ain't good.
Well, you're wrong, Marcus. In this case, it ain't bad. The home of Sandra Maynard turned out to be one of those structures that a locksmith and a couple of carpenters could turn into a hotel over a weekend. The lady of the house greeted me in a sequence, something that gave almost as much flash as she did. I instantly recognized one quality in her that I tabbed as dynamite. While you were with her, she'd make you forget all the other women you'd ever known.
After our scrambled meeting last night, this is rather unexpected. But it's nice. Cigarette?
Thanks.
There'll be drinks along the moment. Manhattans and martinis. I'm sure you must like one or the other.
There have been occasions when I've gone for both, to my eventual distress.
You're attractive, Race. But then I suppose you already know that.
You're rather direct, Mrs. Maynard. And I'm sure you make good use of the trait.
It saves time. Oh, don't say Mrs. Maynard. I hate the name. Call me Sandra. Everyone does. Even my chauffeur.
I'm flattered.
I wonder. Have I stepped off on the wrong foot?
With your facade, why worry?
Suddenly I do find myself worrying. Do you mind if I try to impress you, Race?
I think I'd enjoy it.
Why did you come to see me?
To talk business.
Can't it wait?
I don't think it should.
Race, I have a feeling that you might be crusading.
Did you know Johnny O'Connor?
Do I look the type to know anything about a construction company? I inherited the thing from my father. I care so little about it, I've given my husband a quarter interest to get rid of him. What about your Johnny O'Connor?
He was the bookkeeper who was supposed to have committed suicide after embezzling $70,000.
And you don't think he did? Either one?
Well, it seems that he handled the expense accounts for the firm. Entertainment bills, items like that.
I don't get the significance.
The state's attorney general has been asking for funds from the legislature to investigate contractor bids for public works. Been complaints that your company's had inside information on supposedly sealed bids. So a lot of expense vouchers in your office became too hot to hold. Expense vouchers that might have been linked with the bribing of public officials.
Oh. What does all this have to do with that bookkeeper?
Well, shall we say that with all those vouchers missing, say, $70,000 worth, O'Connor would be the patsy with nothing to back up the entries in his books. Especially if he weren't around to offer excuses.
I'm afraid you've lost me, Race. I let Thomas run the company.
And you know nothing about this?
Nothing. But I do know one thing.
What's that?
I'm glad you came into the picture.
Thanks. I'm gratified.
Oh, stop looking at your watch. You don't have to rush off, Ray.
Yeah, it's getting late and I've another call to make.
On another woman?
On your chief accountant, Irving Dalton.
I want to see you again. If you'd care for my case history, I'm 26 and rather wealthy. In about 60 days, I shall no longer be encumbered with a husband.
An interesting deposition. Don't worry. You'll never be lonely.
There's nobody home, Race.
Should be. This hour.
Yeah, why don't you try to knock?
Nothing like the direct approach. Should have learned that earlier this evening from Sandra Maynard.
There's going to be a light switch here somewhere. That's better. Now it. Hey, Race.
Yes. It's Dalton.
Look at his throat. Somebody must have choked the wadding out of him.
He must have been showing signs of weakening.
Let's get going, huh?
No, let's look around. Uh-oh. Open the door, but keep behind it.
Okay.
You didn't know if it'd find your wig, Dalton.
Take a better look, Thomas. You'll notice he isn't awake.
Say, what is this?
Well, I know some inquisitive gentlemen who'd call it homicide. Where do you think you're going?
I'm getting out of here.
Not yet.
I had nothing to do with this.
Possibly not. But I have a hunch we can tie you in with Johnny O'Connor's murder.
I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, then you know it wasn't a suicide.
No, I...
Mark, dial the Homicide Bureau.
Now, wait a minute. Why can't we sort of talk this over?
We can. Why don't you start in?
In the first
Race,
place...
look outside the window!
There were lights still on in the home of Sandra Maynard. I told Mark to drift around the grounds, keep his eyes open, and then I rang the bell. The butler, appearing in a robe, insisted that his mistress had retired. I had him take me to her bedroom suite where we found her still up. She dismissed the butler.
You mind if I go on brushing my hair, Race?
Not at all.
It doesn't disconcert you?
You know very well it disconcerts me, but at the moment there's something else.
What else, Race?
I just came from Dalton's apartment. He's dead. And so is T.J. Thomas, your general manager. Dalton was strangled. Thomas was shot.
Race, you're not serious. Who could have done it?
The police might think you did.
I? Race, you're kidding. You don't think I did it, do you?
The person who killed Dalton had the strength of a man. Do you have a pistol?
Pistol?
Have you ever had one?
Yes. Yes, of course, but my husband's had it for some time.
You can prove that?
Well, I think so. The butler knows that Arthur has had it.
But the permit was issued in your name.
Yes, it was, but...
There's a bullet in Dalton's apartment. The bullet that killed Thomas. The police are going to find it. When they check it in ballistics, your butler's testimony isn't going to be much good if they find that gun here in your room.
But I told you I don't have the gun.
I have a feeling that your husband is going to plant it here.
Oh, Race, I'm all upset. Why would he do that?
First, to cover himself. When you gave him that interest in the firm, he decided to make it pay off in a big way. He got Thomas and Dalton on the hook, and they started the bribery pattern for big profits. But you're the principal owner, so he's going to try to tag you with the guilt. Another thing. If you were to be executed for murder, he'd get another big chunk of your estate, since he's still your husband.
Race, what am I going to do?
Well, we can wait for him. Then, when he gets here...
I'm already here, Miss Race. What's the matter, my darling? Lost your poise? Emulate Mr. Race. He's quite controlled.
That your gun he's holding, Sandra?
Yes, that's it.
You've caused me a great deal of trouble, Mr. Race. The obvious suicide of O'Connor satisfied the police. Why didn't it satisfy you?
Johnny O'Connor didn't have your educational background, Maynard. He'd never have used a word such as misappropriated. Not even in a suicide note. He used the same word when I interrupted that office meeting. Even Thomas was satisfied with embezzle.
You smelled murder in one word?
2 words. It was a simpler one. O'Connor would have said books. Thomas called them books. You used records. The note said records.
I admire superior intelligence, Mr. Race, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to dispose of you.
It'd be a bit involved, won't it?
Not at all. You came here to charge Sandra with crimes. She shoots you with the same gun that killed Thomas. Her gun, as you pointed out. She then commits suicide. Mr. Race, stop looking behind me as though there was someone there.
Ah, but there is.
What? I'll take care of Race.
Yeah. I tell you, Race, you just can't beat an end wrench in a pinch. All you need is the right guy to flip it.
Marcus, never have I been so happy to see your ugly face.
The Adventures of Frank Race, starring Tom Collins with Tony Barrett as Mark Donovan, came to you from Hollywood. The series is written and directed by Joel Murcott and Buckley Angel. The music is composed and played by Ivan Ditmars. Be sure to be with us again this time 1 week from today for another dramatic chapter in The Adventures of Frank Race. Art Gilmore speaking. This is a Bruce Ells production.
Pepsi-Cola, it's a pot, 12 ounces, that's a lot, twice as much for a nickel too. Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you. Nickel, 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 nickel.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Your neighborhood Chevron gas station invites you to Let George Do It. Brought to you by the makers of climate-tailored Chevron Supreme gasoline and RPM compounded motor oil. Have a crime that needs solving? Have a dog that needs walking? Have a wife that needs spanking? Let George do it. That's the ad that George Valentine put in the paper when he opened his office several weeks ago. Since then, he's had many strange adventures. Now it's late afternoon. George has just stepped out of the elevator and is limping toward his office.
Mr. Valentine, at last. Where have you been?
You took an awful long time for lunch, Mr. Valentine.
Oh, Sonny, give me your arm. Claire, get me a chair.
Why, you're limping.
Suffering cats, what's happened to you?
Oh, it's my shoe. Help me get it off, will you, Sonny?
What's the matter with your shoe?
It's got a nail sticking up in it. Ow! Oh. Oh, that's better.
Well, why in the world didn't you stop at a repair shop and get it fixed?
Well, they'd expect me to take my shoe off, wouldn't they?
Naturally.
Well, I didn't want to do that.
You didn't want to take your shoe off. Why not?
Got a hole in my sock.
Oh, golly.
Here, Sonny, take it downstairs to that shoes repaired while you wait place.
Okay.
And tell him to be sure and get the nail out.
Yes, sir. I will.
Oh, my foot's killing me.
Well, I'm glad you finally got here. Mr. Spencer's been popping in every few minutes looking for you.
Mr. Spencer?
You know, that lawyer in the office next door.
Oh, sure. What does he want?
I don't know, but he kept looking at the clock and asking when I expected you.
George, well, it's about time.
Oh, come in, Spence.
What do you eat for lunch that takes so long?
Well, it took me 5 minutes to eat, but an hour to limp back to the office.
What happened? Were you in an accident?
Well,
Oh, never mind. I don't want to hear the details. Unless you were killed and need a lawyer.
Sorry to disappoint you, Spence.
Look, George, I have a job for you. There's nothing much to it. It's a cinch, and there's $100 in it for you.
Yeah? What do I have to do?
Well, I have a client. If you don't mind, he prefers to remain anonymous.
Oh, that's all right with me.
Now, my client has $5,000, and he wants to invest it in Mazuma Limited. It's $50 a share. That means he can buy 100 shares.
Uh-huh. Well, where do I come in?
You have to buy the stock in your name, and you have to buy it right away. The investment houses don't take orders after 3, and it's 2 now.
Oh, well, now, wait a minute, Spence. Hold on.
Now, I drew up this paper. Oh, you don't have to worry, George. It's legal. Says the stock is for my client, but that you're buying it for him. And just sign here.
Yeah, but, Spence, I don't get it. Why doesn't your client buy it in his own name?
Now, never mind. My client has his own reasons.
Why don't you buy it? After all, you're his lawyer.
I'm just doing what my client told me to do.
Well, okay, Spence. It sounds all right.
It is. You can take my word for it. Now, here's my personal check, George, for $5,000 made out to you. But snap into it. My client thinks Mazuma may go up.
Oh, just leave it to me.
Oh, fine, George, fine. See you later.
Yeah, what time is it, Claire?
It's just 5 after 2.
Oh, well, I better be on my way.
Mr. Valentine, where are you going?
To the Security Exchange Building.
But you can't go now.
Well, there's an investment firm there called Jellicoe and Bean.
Mr. Valentine,
Al
wait.
Melcher's a good friend of mine, and he works there. Be back soon.
Will you please wait?
What's the matter with you, Claire?
Can't go with only one shoe.
Oh, forgot about that. Well, where's Sonny? Why doesn't he get back?
Now, don't get impatient.
Yeah, but it's 5 after 2.
Oh, here he is now.
Sonny, quick, give me my shoe.
I haven't got it, Mr. Valentine.
What do you mean you haven't got it? Where is it?
It won't be ready for another hour.
An hour?
Now, Mr. Valentine.
But all he had to do was have a nail pulled out.
But they're very busy, Mr. Valentine.
But their sign says shoes repaired while you wait.
Well, you didn't see all the sign. It says shoes repaired while you wait. And wait and wait and wait.
Oh, then I'll have to go with a nail in my shoe. Now go get it.
Mr. Valentine, you can't do that.
But, Claire, you heard Spencer. Jellicoe and Bean won't take an order after 3.
Then why don't you phone him?
Hey, that's a wonderful idea. Get him on the phone.
All right.
And I'll talk to Al Melcher. An hour to get a nail out of my shoe.
I'm sorry, Mr. Valentine.
Mr. Melcher, please.
Why didn't you use their pliers and pull it out yourself?
I didn't think of that.
George Valentine calling. Just a minute, please. Here he is, Mr. Valentine.
Oh, thanks. Hello, Al.
Hello, George.
Say, what's Mazuma Limited selling for?
50.
Oh, fine. I want 100 shares.
Why, have you got a tip? Is it going up?
Ah, never mind. Now, listen, Al. I want to buy that stock right away, but I can't get over to your place for a little while yet.
Well, why can't you?
Because I got a nail in my shoe.
You've got what?
Well, can you put the shares aside for me?
Well, now, George, you know I can't do that. It wouldn't be legal. I've got to have the money on the line.
Oh, but Al, I told you Oh, wait a minute. Can you put the shares aside if I send the money over with my office boy?
Well, certainly, of course. But send him over before 3.
He's on his way now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, George. Bye.
So long.
Sonny.
Mr. Valentine, do you think it's wise?
Oh, it's safe enough. It's a check, not cash. Sonny, do you know where the Security Exchange building is located?
Oh, yeah, I've been there lots of times.
Good, good. Now go over there right away. Go to Jellicoe and Bean.
Jellicoe and Bean?
Uh-huh, that's right. See Al Melcher. He'll take care of you. Now, here's the check.
Jellicoe and Bean. That's kind of a hard name to remember.
Now, Sonny, it's simple. Jellicoe and Bean. Think of Jelly Bean.
Jellicoe and Bean, Jelly Bean. Hey, that is simple.
Of course. Now get going.
Okay, Mr. Valentine. Jellicoe and Bean, Jelly Bean.
Oh, and pick up my shoe on your way back.
Yeah, I will. Jellicoe and Bean, Jelly Bean, Jelly Bean. Candy. Candy. Now, what kind of candy was that?
Can I help you, Sonny?
Jeepers, I hope so, sir.
Well, what firm you looking for?
I wish I knew. I forgot their name. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe if I looked at every name on this directory, it'd come to me.
That'll take a little time, son. There are 200 firms in this building.
Yeah, but how many of them sell stocks?
All 200 of them.
Oh, suffering cats.
But I ought to be able to help you out. I've been working this building for 12, 13 years. You can't remember anything about the firm, Toll?
Well, the name sounded like some kind of candy.
Candy?
That's right.
Candy?
Yeah.
Let's see now, candy. Well, then that can't be Perry and Hunt.
No, sir.
Candy. Well, now, wait a minute. I'll bet I got it for you here. Gummer and Draper. Hmm?
Gummer and Draper?
Sure, Gumdrop.
Gumdrop! Jeepers, that's it.
What time is it now, Claire?
5 minutes to 3.
Oh, I wish Sonny'd get back with my shoe. My toes are getting cold.
A nail in your shoe. Honestly, Mr. Valentine, sometimes I think you need someone to look after you.
Why, Claire? This is so sudden.
Stop it. Good afternoon. Let George do it.
This is Al Melcher. Let me speak to George, will you?
Oh, just a minute. It's Mr. Melcher.
Oh, I wonder what he wants. Hello, Al.
Say, George, where's your boy?
My boy?
Yes, with the money.
Now, wait a minute, Al. Do you mean to say that Sonny hasn't been there yet?
Haven't seen a sign of him. We only got 3 minutes left, you know.
3 minutes? Al, now wait. Don't hang up. Claire, Sonny didn't show up there.
Oh, Mr. Valentine, maybe something happened to him.
Well, if it didn't, it will.
Maybe someone took the check away from him.
Now, don't start imagining things.
But he could have got hit over the head.
Oh, sure, he could have got hit over the head, and he did. But that was when he was born.
Mr. Valentine, I don't like your attitude.
And I don't like your brother. Where is that kid?
You've only got 2 minutes left, George.
Oh, wait a minute, Al, please. Now, don't hang up.
Mr. Valentine, here's your shoe.
Sonny.
Sonny, where have you been?
Sonny, quick. Give Al the money.
Huh?
He's right on the... Oh, never mind. I forgot. Hello, Al. I'll have to stop by in the morning.
Okay, George. But, what happened to your boy?
Oh, well, you see, I had a nail loose in my shoe.
He had a nail loose?
No, not him. Me.
Well, then why did that stop him?
Because he's got a nail loose in his head.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, I'll see you in the morning.
Well, take care of it, George. It can become serious, you know.
What are you talking about? What can become serious?
Your hangnail.
Oh, goodbye. Now, Sonny, why didn't you take that check to Jellicoe and Bean?
Jelly Bean. That was it.
Sonny, what's the matter with you?
Didn't you get there, dear?
I forgot the name of the firm.
Oh, great. All right, give me the check.
But I haven't got it, Mr. Valentine.
You haven't got it? Well, you...
Now, Mr. Valentine, you stay away from Sonny.
Well, what does he mean he hasn't got it? Where is it?
I thought it was funny they didn't know you there, but they said they'd keep the check until you dropped in and ordered whatever you wanted to order. I couldn't remember what it was you wanted to order.
Now, wait a minute. Who thought it was funny? Who said they'd keep the check? Who's got it?
This firm in the Security Exchange building.
But which firm?
Huh?
Where did you leave the check? What's the name of the firm?
Oh.
Oh, Sonny, please, look. I'll get down on my knees. Now, don't tell me you don't remember.
I'm sorry, Mr. Valentine.
All right, it's okay, see? Come on, we might as well go right over to the Security Exchange building.
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to come along, Mr. Valentine?
Yes, Claire, I don't trust myself. You'd better come along to walk between us. Well, just don't stand there, Sonny. Start looking over the names on the directory.
Yes, sir.
Can't you give us a clue?
Well, it's too bad that elevator starter went off duty. I bet he'd remember.
Oh, sure, of course. Everybody'd remember, except you.
I know it sounds like candy. That's why I was so positive I had the right one.
Well, what about Marshmallows?
No, I don't think so. I'm not very fond of marshmallows.
Well, then how about Brader and Brittle? You know, peanut brittle?
Nope, I don't care much for it either.
How about Carr and Harmel? Caramel.
No, too hard on the teeth.
Oh, Sonny, we're not trying to pick out some candy for you. We're looking for the firm that has the $5,000 check.
Here's peppermint and peppermint.
No, I'm pretty sure that's not it.
Come on, Claire, we're just wasting time. Every name in this directory can be made to sound like candy.
Then what are we going to do?
Well, we'll go to every office if we have to. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up.
Why don't we start at the top and work our way down?
Because I'd rather work my way up than down. Now, come on. Now, Sonny, how about this office? Gummer and Draper.
Oh, no, that doesn't sound like candy.
Oh. Well, here's Perry and Hunt. I can't make any candy out of it, but let's try it anyway.
Yes, sir. Can I do anything for you?
Oh, look, this'll sound a little silly, but did this boy leave a $5,000 check here?
He certainly did not, and it doesn't sound silly.
Oh, well, he left it somewhere. All he knows is that the firm sounded like some kind of candy.
Candy? Now, wait a minute. Why don't you try Gummer and Draper next door?
Gummer and Draper?
Yes, everybody in the building calls them Gumdrop.
Hey, that's it. Gumdrop.
Oh, I'm tired.
Oh, yeah, so am I. But anyway, we got the check back. I'll be down a little late tomorrow, Claire. I'll go to Jellicoe and Bean first.
Excuse me, Mr. Valentine.
Well, what do you want?
Now that we're back here at the office again, I was just wondering if it wasn't time to stop work. It's 5 o'clock, you know.
Oh. Well, all right, Sonny. I guess you did enough damage for one day.
Someone came in the other office.
Sonny, see who it is, will you?
Okay. Oh, hello, Spencer.
Hello, Sonny.
Spencer. Claire, don't let on that I didn't buy those shares. He might lose confidence in me.
I won't open my mouth.
George, did you buy the stock?
Oh, yeah, sure, of course.
At how much?
Yeah, 50.
$50 a share. Oh, that's wonderful. Then you got them right away.
Well, that's what you wanted me to do, wasn't it?
Oh, I knew I could depend on you, George. It's wonderful, isn't it?
What's wonderful?
I mean about Mazuma Limited.
What about Mazuma Limited?
Nothing much, just that it went up 3 points, that's all.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Spence. Say that again, and slowly.
Yes, I just phoned. It closed at 53. Our client made $300 already.
$300?
Nice afternoon's work, wouldn't you say? Why, what's the matter with you, George? You don't look very happy about it.
Oh, I'm delighted, Spence, delighted.
I thought you would be. $300.
Yeah, $300.
Well, while George is trying to figure out how to raise $300, here's something for you to think about. It's always nice to know the man you're doing business with. So in case some of you still haven't gotten acquainted with a Chevron dealer, here's the kind of fellow he is. The man who stands behind the Chevron gas station sign is a chap with the good sense and hustle that it takes to run a business of his own. He's a likable sort, smiling and friendly, because, frankly, he knows it's good business to get along with folks. His customers find him accommodating for the same reason. They find him mighty handy with their cars, too. He proves that by carrying Chevron Supreme gasoline and RPM motor oil, because he knows they're tops for performance. He proves he's a good businessman by honoring Chevron credit cards. He knows they're an extra convenience for motorists. Yes, on all counts, the neighborhood Chevron dealer is a good man to know. Why not drop in this weekend at the Chevron gas station in your neighborhood? George had to buy 50 shares of Mazuma Limited for a client, but due to Sonny's forgetfulness, by the time George was able to buy the stock, it had gone up 3 points. Now it's the next morning. Claire and George are in the bank, waiting in line.
After trying so hard to save money, after slaving to earn it, now I've got to draw it out.
I feel awful about this, Mr. Valentine.
$300.
I feel responsible for the whole thing.
Oh, well, that's all right, Claire. What's $300 to me? Have I got that much in here?
Oh, yes, you have more than that.
Wish this line would hurry up. I want to draw out the money and get it over with.
Mr. Valentine, Sonny and I will pay you back. Someday.
Yeah, someday. $53 a share. Oh, Claire, I just had a terrible thought.
What is it?
You don't suppose it's gone up again?
Oh, no, it couldn't have. Oh, not so soon. After all, it's still morning.
Yeah, but they tell me that when there's been heavy trading the day before, it sometimes opens at a higher figure.
Oh, don't even think of such a thing. Mr. Valentine, that man ahead of you has a morning paper.
Oh, I don't want to see it. Let's just forget about the whole thing. Let's just... Oh, well. Pardon me, sir.
Yeah?
Mind if I borrow your paper for a minute?
Oh, sure. Help yourself.
Oh, thanks. Now, let's see. Where is it? Mazuma Limited.
Mazuma Limited? Is that a hot tip, buddy?
Oh, no. Skip it, please. Mazuma. Oh, Claire.
What is it?
It opened at 55.
55?
That means $500. Claire, have I got $500?
Oh, gosh, you're next, Mr. Valentine.
Good morning, Mr. Valentine.
Oh, good morning.
Well, drawing some money out this morning?
Look, Mr. Stevens, how much have I got in my savings?
Well, let's see. You've got $503, sir.
Okay, Mr. Stevens. I want to close my account. Taxi!
But why call a cab when your car is just down the street?
We haven't time to get my car. I want to get down there while I still have enough money to buy those shares. Hey, taxi!
Oh, here's a cab pulling up. He's letting someone out here.
Good. Grab it.
Keep the change, driver.
Wait a minute, driver.
Well, George, good morning.
Oh, hello, Spence.
I just came down to do my banking.
Well, we'll take your cab if you don't mind. Get in.
Wonderful news, isn't it, George?
You mean about Mazuma Limited?
Oh, then you heard. Say, we should have taken my client's tip and bought some ourselves.
Yeah, I guess so. Pretty good opening at 55.
55? You're behind times, George.
Why? What do you mean? Spence, please, tell me.
Well, since you bought it at 50, Mazuma has gone up 15 points, that's all.
15 points?
And it may go up even more. He's made $1,500 already.
Claire, $1,500.
Oh, Mr. Valentine.
Well, I'd better take care of my banking. See you at the office.
Claire, get out of that cab. Let it go.
Are we going to take your car, Mr. Valentine?
Yeah. Take it down and hock it.
Oh, I wish Mr. Valentine would get back. He's been gone so long, I'm getting terribly worried.
Where'd he go, sis?
Try and get a loan on his car.
Oh. Claire, do you think maybe I'm a little bit to blame?
Well, maybe a little bit, dear.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mazuma went up to 65.
65? Maybe I better leave before Mr. Valentine gets back.
You stay right here, Sonny. Stay in the other office, Sonny.
Yeah, that's a real good idea.
Mr. Valentine.
Oh, hello.
Mr. Valentine, you look awful.
I raised $1,000.
Well, that's fine, isn't it?
$700 on my car, and then I sold a few things.
What few things? What did you sell?
Oh, what difference does it make?
Why? What do you mean? Didn't you buy the shares?
It went up again before I got there.
Oh, no.
I tried to get Al to take what money I had and sell them to me. I promised him I'd raise the rest some way, but, well, it's against the law.
Oh.
I don't want to do anything against the law.
Oh, no, of course not.
Know any banks I can break into?
Mr. Valentine, it can't be that bad. Now, come on, sit down. You must be tired.
Yeah. I went for a walk.
Well, that's a good idea.
Down by the river.
Mr. Valentine!
It's still there.
Please, will you listen to me? I have a suggestion. It's the only way out. Of course, I realize it may be a little difficult, but it's the best way to handle this.
You mean the river?
Oh, of course not. Mr. Valentine, go next door to Mr. Spencer's office and tell him the whole story. Believe me, it's the best thing to do.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right, Claire. But how am I going to break it to him? Where will I start?
With the nail in your shoe.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Claire, I'll do it. I'll say, you see, Spence, I had a nail in my shoe. You see, Spence, I had a nail in my shoe.
A nail? Is that what you came to tell me, George?
Oh, no, I'm leading up to it slowly.
I see. Well, look, George, meanwhile, I've got something to tell you. I want to let you in on something confidential.
Yeah, well, what I have to say is a little confidential, too.
As long as we're doing business together, George, why should I keep anything from you? After all, I wouldn't want you to hold back on me.
Do you really mean that, Spence?
Why, of course.
Good. Then listen, I had a nail in my shoe.
Now, wait a minute. You listen to me first. George, I'm going to tell you the name of our client.
Our client?
Yes, you know, the man who owns those Mazuma shares you bought.
Oh, him. I forgot all about him.
Don't tell a soul, George, but his name is Moose McClary.
Glad to know you, I'm sure.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry, Spence. I got a lot on my mind. Well, anyway, I had a name... Moose McClary.
Well, it's about time.
Do you mean the gangster?
Wait a minute. Don't call him that. Moose wouldn't like it. He's reformed a long time ago.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, at least he's reformed so far as the public is concerned. Say, you ought to see his suite of rooms at the State Hotel, George. Every place you look, there's a bodyguard.
A bodyguard?
And what tough babies. Of course, Moose himself is no gumdrop.
Don't mention that word.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, Spence.
Yeah, he's a hard man to do business with. You never want to cross him, George. He acts first, and then he asks questions.
What do you mean, acts first?
Well, let's just suppose that you did something that displeased him. Do you know what would happen to you? You'd disappear.
Disappear? For good?
Forever.
Forever? That's a long time.
Anyway, I thought you'd get a kick out of knowing who he is. Now then, George, let's have it. What did you want to tell me?
Well, it wasn't anything very important, Spence. All I came to tell you is that I had a nail in my shoe.
But, Mr. Valentine, you went there to tell him the truth. Why didn't you go through with it?
After he told me our client is Moose McClary? Claire, don't you like me?
Of course I like you. Just for the record, I like you very much. But what's that got to do with it?
Claire, because of me, the Moose lost $1,500, maybe more by now. Do you think he's the type that'll say, oh, that's all right, just forget it?
Just tell this Moose person that you'll make it up to him. Tell him it may take a little time, but that eventually you'll pay him back.
Oh, I can just see myself saying that. Clary's about 6'5". He has hands as big as that desk, and a bodyguard for every finger.
Well, then don't face him. Put it in a letter.
A letter?
Yes, why not?
Hey, a letter.
And you could enclose the money in the letter, and then you can...
Leave town.
Now, Mr. Valentine.
Okay. It's the only way out, I guess. I'll tell him that I'll work for him for the rest of my life, which may not be for very long. Take a letter, Claire.
Hey, you can't do that.
Sonny, what's the matter?
Say, what's going on out there?
Mr. Valentine, quick. Some men came in and they're moving out all our furniture.
Oh. Well, it's all right, Sonny. Don't try to stop.
But, Mr. Valentine, why not?
Remember I told you I sold a few things?
Our office furniture?
Well, what's the difference? I won't be able to stay in business anyway. Come on, Claire, take a letter.
Okay, boys. This stuff goes to...
Take it right on the typewriter.
All right, Mr. Valentine.
Sorry, lady, we gotta have that desk.
Mr. Moose McClary, State Hotel.
Sorry, lady.
My typewriter.
Take it in longhand. Here's my pen.
Oh, all right.
Oh, sorry, lady. We gotta have that chair.
Mr. Valentine.
Sit on the floor.
Oh, golly. All right, go ahead, Mr. Valentine.
Dear Mr. Moose, this may come as a shock to you. Anyone in here?
Good morning, Mr. Valentine.
Anyone waiting for me?
Were you expecting someone, Mr. Valentine?
Well, just the Moose and a few of his bodyguards.
Nobody's here but us.
Oh, okay, then I'm safe for a few minutes.
Then you mailed the letter?
Yeah, last night. I addressed it and mailed it myself. He should have it by now.
Why don't you sit down, Mr. Valentine?
Oh, thanks. Where?
Join us on the floor.
Yeah. Looks pretty empty in here, doesn't it?
Oh, you get used to it.
Well, kids, well, it was nice to know you.
Now, Mr. Valentine, don't start that.
Oh, we might as well face it. Kind of tough to say goodbye.
I'm not saying goodbye. No matter what happens, I'm sticking.
Oh, Claire. Thanks, Claire.
I'm sticking too, Mr. Valentine.
Thanks, Sonny. What am I saying? Why should I thank you?
Now, Mr. Valentine.
Okay. No hard feelings, Sonny.
Oh, of course not. I forgive you.
Oh, thanks. You forgive me.
Oh,
skip it.
George, come on. We've got to get out of town right away.
Oh, Spence, then you talk to the Moose. You know about it.
Don't stop to talk. Come on, let's beat it.
Well, now, wait a minute, Spence. He can't blame you. I wrote him that you had nothing to do with it.
But he claims I showed poor judgment.
You mean in coming to me?
Oh, he just carried out his orders, that's all. He wanted to buy 50 shares. How was I to know it would drop?
Spence, wait a minute. You mean drop down?
Yes, of course. It's down to 40 now. That means it's only worth 4,000. But the moose says he's got to have his 5,000 back.
Oh, Spence, that's wonderful. Claire, did you hear that?
Oh, Mr. Valentine, I can't believe it.
Jeepers, we ought to go out and celebrate.
What's the matter with you people? Didn't you hear me? The stock's only worth 4,000, and the moose wants his 5,000 back.
It's all right, Spence. He's got it. I mailed it to him in a letter.
Listen, somebody's crazy around here, and I was all right this morning.
Oh, you don't understand. You see, I had a nail in my
Oh,
shoe.
for heaven's sakes, George, don't start that.
Well, anyway, before I could get around to buying the shares, it started to go up.
George, you mean?
I took a loan on my car. I sold my furniture, but I still didn't have enough.
Then you didn't buy the shares? Oh, that's terrific, George. What a stroke of luck.
Sure, he ought to have his money by now. I sent it along with a letter.
Letter? What letter?
Explaining what happened. I even promised to work for him for the rest of my life.
Can you imagine that?
George, you didn't. Oh, George, you dope.
Now, Spence, I resent that.
If you had to get it off your chest, why didn't you come to me? But to put a thing like that in black and white and send it to the moose. Why, don't you realize he'll hold it over your head?
What do you mean?
Listen, George, he's just the kind of guy who'll take you at your word. He'll make you work for him the rest of your life.
Suffering cats.
Oh, great. But, Spence, I returned his money.
Sure you did, and he'll take it. But he'll claim the letter proves that you double-crossed him. I tell you, he'll use it for all it's worth.
He can't do that.
Maybe you'd better get out of town after all. Of course, someday he'll catch up with you, but you may get away for a couple of hours.
Good morning, folks. Here's your mail.
Oh, good morning.
Are you folks moving?
Well, one of us is.
Better give me your forwarding address, Mr. Valentine, so things can catch up with you.
Oh, no, you don't. I don't want anything to catch up with me.
Oh, by the way, this letter came back stamped no such firm.
Oh, well. The letter. Claire, Spence, it's the letter.
Oh, Mr. Valentine, are you sure?
Is it the one you sent to the moose?
Yeah, sure, of course. Hey, look. Here's the 5,000 and the 1,500 I raised.
Jeepers, now you can get our furniture back.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I don't get it. Why wasn't this letter delivered?
Well, I told you it was stamped no such firm at that address.
What? Let me look at the envelope. Oh, Mr. Valentine, you certainly must have been upset. Look how you addressed it.
Well, how do you like that? It's addressed Gumdrops Incorporated.
George will be back in a moment. Meanwhile, out here in the West, we have a tradition of neighborliness. I guess we couldn't have grown so fast if Westerners weren't the kind of folks who are always glad to help one another. And if you'd like to see that neighborliness in action, just drop in at any Chevron gas station. All those cream, green, and burgundy stations are home-owned, run by local chaps who are making good on their own. That's one reason why your neighborhood Chevron dealer does his best to keep your car in good shape. The best way he can build a thriving business is to build goodwill with neighbors like you. So he's always accommodating, honors your Chevron credit card, gives your car top-quality products like Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. Yes, you're going to like the neighborly way your Chevron dealer does business. Drop in tomorrow and get acquainted. Well, next week, George Valentine has a problem that's out of this world, and you'll probably hear something like this.
I wanted to see you this morning, Mr. Valentine, but I was detained. You see, I just came from my funeral.
Oh, I see. From your funeral?
That's right. Quite an experience.
Now, wait a minute. What is this? Say, who are you anyway?
I am the late Rufus Hamilton.
Chevron gas stations all through the West invite you to be with us again next week for another chapter of Let George Do It, brought to you by the makers of Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. Let George Do It, starring Robert Bailey as George, with Francis Robinson as Claire and Eddie Firestone Jr. as Sonny, is written by Pauline Hopkins, produced and directed by Owen Vincent. Others in the cast were Willard Waterman as Spencer, David Ellis as Al, Rena Craig as the woman, Jess Kirkpatrick as the elevator starter, and Herb Butterfield as the mailman. The music was composed and conducted by Charles Dant. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to
Let George Do It.
This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Life is swell when you keep well. That's why Post 40% Bran Flakes have become America's largest selling Bran Flakes. Every 1 ounce serving of Post 40% Bran Flakes provides bran to help prevent irregularity due to lack of bulk in the diet. They're so delicious tasting and so good for you, too. Tomorrow, serve America's favorite Bran Flakes. Post 40% Bran Flakes.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
The makers of Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil invite you to Let George Do It. The Adventures of George Valentine, brought to you on behalf of Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Tonight's adventure begins as George, feeling very safe after making a special trip downtown to pay the premium on his accident policy, walks briskly down an isolated street to where he has parked his car. Suddenly, from the open stairway of a building, a cascade of small round pellets bounces to the pavement, followed closely by a young woman in great haste. There is a collision, and George hits the sidewalk with the force of a blockbuster.
Are you hurt?
Oh, you don't have an extra sacroiliac on you.
Can you get up?
I think so.
Well, then, do you mind?
Do I mind what?
Getting up off the pavement.
Well, if I'm in your way, couldn't I just slide over?
You're lying on my pearls.
Pearls? Oh, good. I thought those lumps were misplaced vertebrae. No. Hey,
Oh, thank you. Now, let me see. That makes 32, 33, 4.
Yeah, here's a few in the gutter.
Oh, good. Yes, 35, 36, 37.
Hey, have you seen any teeth down there? They're mine.
Oh, I'm sorry you fell down. 38, 39.
Oh, here's one of my trouser cups.
Thanks, 40. I see you, you little rascal. 41. 41. 41.
Lots of 41s, aren't there?
I've lost one, number 42. I've lost one. Oh, good Lord, what'll I do now? They'll kill me for this.
Oh, come now, lady.
Where is it? Where is it? There were 42 of them. What have you done with it?
Well, I'm afraid I've kicked it down that sewer drain.
What? You kicked my pearl down the... Where? I don't see it.
All over there, see? Here, through the grating. Oh, well, you lucky. Landed right in that Sunday cup.
Oh, I see it. Oh, yes, there it is. Oh, thank heaven. But how did we get it out of there?
Well, it's a very delicate engineering problem. I need a long stick and a chewing gum if you're through with it.
Here.
Thanks. Now, let's see. Oh, that's lucky. Here's a stick. That might do it.
Can you reach it?
No, not long enough. You know, that's quite a drop down there.
Oh, good Lord, if anything happens to that pearl.
Well, I hate to do this, but...
Are you going down there?
Here, hold my coat, will you, lady?
All right.
There's a ladder in here.
Don't fall down and hurt the pearl.
Oh, thanks a lot. I'll be careful. Got it.
Give it to me, quickly.
All right. Catch.
Oh.
Nice one.
Thanks.
Hey, wait a minute. What are you doing
Thanks
with that ladder?
Thanks a lot, Haston. You've been very helpful.
Hey, what is this? Put that ladder back.
The least we can do is leave things like we find them.
Hey, come back here. You, what's the matter with you?
Don't worry, lover. A heavy rain ought to float you right up to the top. Sorry, I just can't stand saying goodbye or answering questions.
Well, I'll be... Hey! Help!
Yes? Something for you, sir?
Yeah. This looks like the right place. Are you Mr. Zaghetti?
To be precise, Bela Zaghetti. I am he.
Oh, Mr. Zaghetti, I can see by the layout here you're a jeweler. Now, I wonder if...
To be precise, I am not a jeweler. I manufacture artificial gems. To put it this way, I do my small part to brighten the lives of those who otherwise are not very bright. Is this exact?
Yeah, probably. Well, what I want to know is, have you recently brightened the life of a young lady with a string of artificial pearls?
To be precise, a blonde, Miss Dale Quidden.
Yeah, that's right. I saw her coming out of this building, and I thought that...
A beautiful job. Smooth and pink and utterly perfect.
Yes, she was.
To correct myself, I refer to the string of matched imitation pearls. Pink ones. 42 on a row.
She was pretty particular about the specifications.
Oh, yes. They were a duplication of But if I may ask you a question?
Sure, of course.
To put the question in this way, why do you ask this question?
Well, I admired her set. I was interested in buying it, but she wouldn't sell. I wondered if you could arrange for me to have a duplicate set.
Oh, it would take many months.
How much would it cost?
To be precise, $300.
Well, that's a little too precise. She told me you made hers for $200.
But no, it was the same. The price is not different.
Oh, well, maybe I misunderstood. But I'd like to check. Not that I distrust
But no,
you.
there is no doubt. I am an honorable man. Please, verify this.
Yeah, I'll do that, if you'd like to give me her address.
But, of course, I have a record of my sales. You will find out.
That's all I want, Mr. Zaghetti. I just want to find out.
George, anybody who'd go down into a sewer pipe after a blonde deserves everything.
Oh, now listen, Brooksy, I didn't follow her into the sewer. I was doing my good deed for the day, and she ran off with my coat and wallet.
What were you looking for, a merit badge?
Oh, now, Brooksy, listen.
Well, it's a nice way to meet a girl, I must say. Sprawled senseless in the gutter. And all she has to do is blink those big brown eyes and...
Blue eyes.
Blue eyes. And you go scurrying down the drain pipe like a...
Rat.
Rat. Thank you. And then because you're caught in your own trap...
Well, that'll teach me to keep my trap shut.
You come cringing back to me like a...
Good puppy.
Puppy. And you expect me to feel sorry for you. So she jilted you. Good for her. What were you trying to prove anyway?
Well, I guess I was just trying to prove I was willing to start at the bottom and work up. Brooksy.
What?
You're not mad.
Oh, George, of course not. But I hate to see a woman make a fool out of a man like you. Another woman, that is.
Well, don't you worry. I'm going to prove to her I'm nobody's fool.
I know you're not, darling. Yet.
Huh?
But I'm working on it.
Hey, wait a minute. Here we are.
Yeah, you're right. There's the number. 7700.
Uh-oh, he's right.
Sure you want me to come along?
Unless you're afraid of the competition.
What? Oh, aren't you smug? Lead on, McDuff. Yeah, here's her name on the box. Miss Dale Quillen. I'd like to give her a piece of my mind.
Now, Brooksy, let me do the talking.
Yeah?
Miss Dale Quillen?
You're kidding?
I mean, she means, is Dale Quillen at home?
You're kidding?
Well...
Is he kidding?
Well, someone is. Hey, did you get a look at that house?
What, through that solid wall of muscle?
Well, the place is a wreck. Furniture turned over, paper scattered on the floor.
Poor housekeeper as well as a crook. What are you going to do?
What is this, a gag?
We've decided to wait.
What are you, a mad character or something? Blow.
Oh, come off it now, handsome. Anybody can see you've got a heart as big as all outdoors.
Yeah? Then stay outdoors. Hey, character, get your foot out of the door, I'll chop it off.
You know, you could be a lot of company for us while we're waiting. Yes, sir. A lot of company.
Yeah? Give me your address and I'll drop you a postcard. If you want it any clearer, I'll step outside.
Come on, I dare you.
Take it easy, Claire.
I warned you, joker.
Let him go now, Ben. You're too quick with the fist. You're old friends now.
Yeah, that's a great little equalizer you got there.
It is small but persuasive. Bring him in, Nubbin. I think we have interest in common.
Come on, you...
In one piece, Nubbin. Perhaps you can take him apart later.
Inside, kidder.
Easy. Yes, Nubbin is just a big, playful child. He loves to take things apart, but he has never quite learned how to put them together again. Now, shall we talk?
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, let's go from assault and battery to just plain battery. For thousands of Western motorists, October means a lot of weekend driving, like football games and hunting trips. But for the battery in your car, October means extra work and power drainage because of the colder weather and lots of stop-and-go driving. So let me give you a two-way economy tip. First, depend on the men at your standard station or independent Chevron gas station for periodic battery checkups. They have all the equipment and know-how for keeping up your battery's maximum power and for giving it longer life. Second, when you fill up your tank, ask for Chevron Supreme gasoline. Tailor-made for each different climate and altitude zone, high-octane Chevron Supreme assures instant starts, eliminates grinding on the starter, and drain on the battery. So for definite battery economy in colder weather, just remember regular battery checkups at any Chevron gas station or standard station and Chevron Supreme gasoline. And now back to the second part of 42 on a Rope, tonight's adventure of George Valentine. Well, it seems that George's curiosity following his strange encounter with a mysterious girl and a broken string of pearls has landed him in a tight spot. For minutes now, Baptiste and Nubbin have been questioning George and Claire until...
I've told you everything I know. This girl, this Dale Quillen, made me look silly, so I came here for an explanation. Now I feel even sillier.
You have come here looking for something. So have we. Naturally, we are all sincere people. Perhaps we can help one another, Monsieur...
Valentine. George Valentine. And it depends on what we're looking for.
Naturally. Pink pearls, no? 42 on a rope, is it not?
We're looking for Dale Quillen, remember?
Naturally. Because when we find Miss Quillen, Baptiste Lavon also finds his pearls, n'est-ce pas?
I wouldn't know. Who's Baptiste Lavon?
Oh, my apology. It is I.
Oh, I see. Well, what makes a string of phony oyster fruit so important anyway?
Phony? I do not know this phony.
Ringers, fakes, dupes.
Artificial, counterfeit, paste.
Ah, the replicas. You refer to this fraudulent string, huh?
Huh? Yeah, that's it. Where'd you get them?
They were left by Miss Quillen at the check room of the Union Station. She sent me the claim check. At the same time, no doubt, boarding a train for some distant city.
Why would she do that?
Because they are worthless. Good imitations, no more. Value perhaps $300. As you say, phony.
You're trying to say she pulled a switch on you? Ran off with the real pearls, your pearls, and left you the ringers?
That is correct. As always, Baptiste Lavon was sincere. I trusted her with 42 exquisite gems. Gems collected by no other than Louis XIV to give to his Antoinette.
Tell me, Lavon, where did you get hold of Marie Antoinette's choker?
Spoils of war, Monsieur Valentine. As an officer of the Vichy government in France, my job was to appraise and catalogue war prizes for the victorious Nazis. Naturally, the sincerity and integrity of Baptiste Lavon were above approach.
Naturally. So you held out the match picks?
Naturally. Oh, when the fortunes of war were reversed, Baptiste Lavon reversed too. Miss Quillen came to Paris with an entertainment unit, and we became friends.
And she smuggled them into the States for you.
That is correct.
That'll teach you not to be so sincere.
Are you kidding?
Well, hello.
Now, you are friends of Miss Quillen. You see my predicament. I must know where she is. You will tell me?
I've told you. I don't even know the girl.
Your mode of entry contradicts you. You are her confederate. We are not quite fools here.
Yeah, we ain't no dopes, you know.
You do not help, Nubbin. Well, they're stubborn. Now you may take the man apart. The girl adores him. She will weaken first. You may proceed.
Yeah. I'll loosen him up first with my belt. Then I'll get technical.
No, don't. He doesn't know anything.
Let go of my arm, lady.
Stop it. Let him alone, you fool. Can't you see he doesn't know anything?
You won't let go, Baptiste?
I would advise you to do as Nubbin said.
Claire, better sit this one out, honey.
I won't let them.
Who's that?
I don't know. It seems to be a messenger of some sort with a package.
Package?
I will not insult your intelligence by warning you to keep quiet. Answer it, Nubbin.
Yeah.
I've got a package here addressed to Handsome. Handsome, that's all the name it's got.
That's me. I'm handsome.
You? Are you sure?
You kidding? Give me the package.
Well, can you identify yourself?
Sure. Take a good look at me. Now, wouldn't you say I was handsome?
Yes, sir. You got pretty eyes, too.
Okay, give me the package and dust.
Handsome, is it? This is surely not Nubbin, nor is it Baptiste Lavon. Handsome, then, is Monsieur Valentine.
Oh, no, not me. No, it's...
Oh, yes, Monsieur Valentine. I will open the package for you. Sacre bleu. They're not here.
It's nothing but a map.
Yes, but a large map of the city. with 4 small crosses marked on it, and these words, X marks the spot. But there are 4 X's.
Yeah. One at High and 23rd.
And one at Elm and Valley.
And 14th and Underhill.
And Cast and Granite. 4 spots marked with X. What does this mean, Monsieur Valentine?
Well, how should I know?
Oh, go ahead, Handsome. Tell them. They'll find out anyway.
What? What do you... Oh, yeah, okay. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? She planted the 42 real pearls in different places. So even if you found one hideout, she'd still have 3/4 of them hidden away at other places.
Excellent. You know these hiding places?
Naturally.
Excellent. We will all go hunting. Nubbin, the young lady, you and I, and the gun. Please do not forget the gun.
Well, here's the first stop, Costa and Granite.
Where am I going to park?
Pull up to the curb, Nubbin, let us out. Then drive around the block and pick us up here.
Okay.
Now, where is it? Quickly. I cannot control myself.
Well, you see that big office building there?
Yes.
You see that window up there with the jeweler's sign?
Where? I don't see it.
Higher. Look higher.
No. Where is it?
No, it's higher yet. That's higher. No. Oh! Come on, Brooksy, run for it. Into that theater.
Oh, George, we haven't been to a movie in ages. Oh, it's a cartoon. Good, I could stand a laugh.
We didn't come in here for laughs, Brooksy.
Do you think LeBon saw where we went?
I don't know. It's pretty dark in here. Can you see?
Oh, little. It's crowded.
Maybe we'd better take singles.
You leave me alone and I'll scream the place down.
Okay. Hey, that looks like 2 in the middle there.
Good.
Excuse us, will you? Pardon me. I beg your pardon.
Oh, this is fine. We can hold hands. Oh, George, are you all right?
I think so.
Oh, did you see that? That was very funny. The mouse was run over by a steamroller.
I know just how he felt.
What's it all about, George? What did those 4 X's on the map really mean?
I don't know, but I'm working on it.
You think we're safe in here?
Well, there are 4 X's and we're right in the middle. Wait a minute. Shh. Quiet, I got it, Claire. That's it. The 4 X's and us in the middle.
Shh, quiet.
What, you two?
No, look, George. There's LeBon coming down the aisle.
Yeah, Nubbin's coming down the other aisle.
I don't think they've seen us.
Let's get out of here.
Oh, George. Oh, gosh, now I'll never know how the mouse got out of the cement mixer. Is anybody following us now, George?
No, I think we've shaken them. Driver?
Yes, sir.
Got a map of the city?
Yeah, here you are.
Good, thanks. Say, pull over to the curb a minute, will you?
Sure.
What is it, George?
I only hope LeVon doesn't figure it out as fast as I did. Hey, you got a pencil, Brooksy?
Yeah, an eyebrow pencil.
Good. Thanks. Hey, now look. You remember the 4 intersections where the X's were?
Yes.
Now, I fold the paper here.
Yeah.
And draw a straight line from this X to this X. Fold it again and draw another from here to here.
And you get a big X.
Yeah, Brooksy. X marks the spot, intersecting at DeLong and King Avenue. And that's where we'll find Miss Dale Quillen.
Oh, it's you. You made it.
Hello. And you did mean me.
Of course. Who else?
I don't believe we've met before. I'm Claire Brooks, George's fiancée.
Secretary.
Oh, practically the same thing.
Looking at you, I guess it would be.
How'd you know I was in your house? And how'd you know I'd get your message?
I knew Baptiste and Nubbin were inside. I was watching from the vacant house across the street. I saw them take you in and knew they'd make it tough for you.
What made you think I'd catch that X marks the spot routine?
Well, you'd gotten that far with a lot less to go on. Also, I found your business card in your wallet. You're George Valentine, aren't you?
Well, perhaps I should introduce you two.
I figured you'd know the score because you're a professional troubleshooter. And brother, have I got trouble.
Well, if I can be of any
now,
help...
wait a minute. Remember the sewer, George.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry about that. I was panicky. It won't happen again.
darn white of you.
Come on, let's get away from here. First of all, suppose you tell us what you did with Marie Antoinette's necklace.
After you. I haven't got it. I don't know where it is.
Oh, well, that helps a lot. Take off, driver, anywhere but here. Now, wait a minute. Let me get this. All we know is that you smuggled the pearls into the States. Now you tell us you don't know where they are. Take it from there.
I know I had them. Lavon concealed the pearls in a bottle of wine. I saw him do it. They were stuck to the bottom of the bottle with wax so they wouldn't rattle. Then he filled the bottle and sealed the top. I paid customs duty on the wine and got them through.
Very smooth.
Go on.
Well, when I got here, the seal was still unbroken. But, well, you won't believe this, but when I opened the bottle, the pearls were gone. Somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic, somebody had made a switch.
You're telling me the pearls were hijacked from you?
It's true, I swear it. But do you think Lavon would believe that? He'd say I double-crossed him.
Men are so skeptical.
Do you believe me?
Well...
Say you do. Say you'll help me.
All right, I do, and I'll help you.
Oh, swell. Now all we've got to do is find the person who stole the pearls from the girl who smuggled them in for the boy who stole them in the first place.
It's okay, Dale. This is my office. You'll be safe here.
Yes, I'll see to that.
Come on in, Claire, and shut the door.
Better lock it.
Should I swallow the key?
Why did we have to stop at the library? Why did you have to take out a book at a time like this?
Well, I'll tell you, and listen carefully. Lavon's desperate. We've got to have some answers ready for him before he catches up with us.
Oh, I have a feeling he's close by. You don't know him like I do. He's closing in on me. I know he is.
Look, Dale, look. Keep calm. He's not in the filing cabinet or under the desk. Hey, Brooksy, open the closet door and show Dale he's not in there pointing a gun at her head.
Okay. I have a surprise for you. He is.
Huh?
Keep your hands away from that desk, Monsieur Valentine. Back up, please, both of you. Miss Quillen, remain where you are.
Oh, no. No, I knew it. I knew it.
Face the wall, both of you. Your hands high. Higher. Nubbin?
Yeah, Baptiste?
Keep them covered. If either one makes a move to interfere, squeeze the trigger twice.
I'll do that thing. And that's no gag, Joker.
And now, we come to you, Sherry. At long last, eh?
Baptiste, listen. You've got to listen. You've got to give me a break.
You made a fool of Baptiste Lavon once. For that alone, I hate you. Should you do it twice, I would hate myself. No, Sherry. Your luck has run out.
I didn't double-cross you, Baptiste. I swear I didn't.
No? What do you call these? Pearls? You rotten little cheat.
No, listen. I had them made, but give me a chance. I can explain.
No, Sherry, they're phonies. Phony like yourself.
Baptiste, the pearls, they were gone when I opened the bottle. Somebody took them. You've got to believe me.
You carry the light to the end, eh, Sherry? Your last chance, my darling. Where are the pearls?
I don't know.
Don't move. Stay just as you are. I want to remember you like this forever. Bonsoir, Sherry.
Lavon.
Quiet, Joker.
I know where the pearls are.
I said quiet.
Wait. What was that, Monsieur Valentine?
Call off your dog, Lavon. I'm ready to talk.
Don't listen, Baptiste. He's a kidder.
You can talk, Monsieur Valentine, from where you are.
All right. Your story about Marie Antoinette's necklace got me interested in famous jewels. I've been to the library and picked up a book. That's it on my desk there, the red one. Now go on, open it. To the page I have marked.
If this
Wait
is
now,
gag...
Ben. A book, yes. Jewels of History.
Go on, read it. Read what it says.
I am reading.
What is it, George?
It's Dale's life insurance, Claire.
Uh-huh. I have read it.
Well?
Well, I guess you win, Valentine.
Can we put our hands down now, Lavon?
Of course. Let them alone, Nabin. You have very nearly made a tragic mistake. I thank you, Monsieur Valentine. Baptiste Lavon thanks you.
I don't get this, Baptiste.
Come, Nabin. We've worn out our welcome. Monsieur Valentine, we will trouble you no more. You will never see us again. Bonsoir, chérie. Now I will remember you always as you were in Paris.
It was a miracle, that's all it was, just a miracle. What did you do to him, George? What was in that book?
Read it, Claire, out loud.
Oh, yes. Cleopatra's Pearl. Cleopatra, to impress Mark Antony, once dissolved a pearl in vinegar and drank it to his health. Dissolved?
Now, wait a minute. Listen. Go ahead, Claire.
Pearls which consist of carbonate of lime are extremely soluble in weak acids. They will dissolve in vinegar containing 6% or more of acetic acid, or in wine which is turned sour.
It was the wine that did it, the wine in the bottle.
According to the U.S. Bureau of Chemistry and Soils, pearls consist of 91 7/10%.
Never mind the rest, Claire. That's enough. Well, how do you feel now, Dale?
Completely dazed.
Lavon didn't have an argument in the world. He knew he planted the pearls in that wine bottle himself. He had nobody to blame but himself.
I can't believe it. You saved my life, and Oh, George.
Now what?
Now I have to go to jail.
Well, it's going to be kind of hard to hold you there.
Why?
Well, technically, since there weren't any pearls in the bottle when you brought it through the customs station, you actually didn't smuggle anything in, even though you meant to. Lavon filched the pearls from the Nazis, but I doubt if any of them will turn up to claim them. No, it was all a wild goose chase for something that simply didn't exist.
Well, I'm going to confess my part of it and take what's coming to me. First, George,
Yeah?
may I kiss you? He saved my life, Miss Brooks. May I? Where I'm going, it'll be a long time between kisses.
Well, things aren't much better around here, but... Oh, all right, go ahead. Honestly, I think I must be going loony.
Goodbye, George.
Dale. Just a minute.
Yes?
Be a nice girl and hand it over.
What?
Oh, come on, Dale. You certainly haven't forgotten why I got into this in the first place. And if you think I'm going to let you walk out of that door with my wallet, you're loony.
If your family car is the kind that does all-around duty, like taking mother shopping, dropping the children off at school, picking up father after work, you can't choose your tires too carefully. That's why I'd like to talk to you tonight about Atlas Grip-Safe tires. The Atlas tire has a specially designed tread that actually grips the road and brings you to a sure, safe stop whenever you apply the brakes. Tomorrow, ask at your independent Chevron gas station or standard station about the built-in safety features of Atlas tires. Then try them on your car for extra protection and extra riding comfort. Best of all, when you buy an Atlas passenger car tire, you get a written 1-year guarantee against the cuts, bruises, and blowouts that threaten the life of ordinary tires. While you're talking tire safety and comfort at the standard station or independent Chevron gas station, ask for those two other motor car friends, Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Motor Oil. Next week, when you tune our way for The Joke Was on the Killer, another adventure of George Valentine, you'll hear George saying,
Some joke, I'd say. Brooksy, see what's happened to Mrs. Ralston, will you?
Well, sure, George.
Glenn, he made me go through with this farce and shoot those blanks.
Well, he's not going to do anything like that to you again, Agnes.
Wait a minute. Listen, everybody. This man is dead.
We've had enough of this vicious nonsense. You're part of this, too. This act, Valentine. Now I know it. And you, get up.
Oh, leave him alone. Come and help me with Mrs. Ralston, George.
Now stop this, all of you. Just what do I have to do to make myself clear? This started out as a joke, but it's no longer funny. This man is completely, hopelessly dead.
Clinic care, hospital care, a visiting nurse in your home. They are made possible by funds from Community Chest. Thousands of persons, old and young, benefit each year from health services of Community Chest. So give generously this October for your community's health and welfare. Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West invite you to be with us again next week for The Joke Was on the Killer, another adventure of George Valentine, brought to you by the makers of Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. Let George Do It stars Robert Bailey as George with Frances Robinson as Claire. Tonight's story was written by Doug Hayes and directed by Don Clark. Also heard in the cast were George Sorrell, Jim Nusser, Betty Moran, Jack Crucian, Victor Rodman, and Dick Ryan. The music is composed and conducted by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
KHJ Los Angeles. Memo from stationers. Here are ballpoint pens for every purse or pocket.
If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. And no wonder. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, and removes loose dandruff. What's more, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil is the only leading hair tonic that contains soothing lanolin. So ask for Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch.
You're lovely, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it, 'cause you're lovely, just the way you look tonight.
Woodbury, the makers of Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap made for the skin alone, present The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North. Pam feels like going to the movies because she decided that Jerry's been working too hard and needs an evening of relaxation. Well, that's all right with Jerry because he feels like going to the movies, too. But he'd like to know what they're going to see. So as he and Pam walk toward the neighborhood theater, he asks her,
What picture are we going to see, Pam?
Oh, I forget the name of it, darling, but I know you'll like it. It has, what's her name in it?
And I like her, huh?
Oh, you know who I mean. She was in that picture with, Jerry, that tall, dark-haired fellow.
There are a lot of tall, dark-haired fellows in the movies, darling.
No, but this one, he was...
I know. He played in the picture with what's-her-name?
That's right. Oh, what is his name, Jerry?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, I see I'm not the only one who forgets names. And you always say that I never can remember. Oh, that reminds me, Jerry, I forgot to tell you. That fellow phoned today.
What fellow?
I don't remember his name, darling, but I wrote it down. And his phone number, too.
Well, who is he? What do you want?
Oh, you know, that author.
Darling, I know lots of authors. I'm a publisher, remember?
Well, this one's from out of town. Ohio or someplace.
Eugene Lawrence?
Yes, that's it. Eugene Lawrence.
Is he in town?
Yes, but he'll be leaving tomorrow.
Pam, I want to see him. Where'd you say he's staying?
I didn't. I don't remember, Jerry. But I wrote it down.
Well, I'll go back to the apartment. I want to call him. You go on to the show.
But, Jerry...
Darling, this is important. It's business. I'm publishing his book, and there are certain points we've been discussing through the mail that I'd like to talk over in person. Now, where did you write his phone number?
On a folder.
Folder?
Yes, dear. It's right next to the telephone.
What kind of a folder?
A match folder. You can't miss it, dear. It's orange
I
and
remember.
black.
It has the name of that awful nightclub you lured me into going to the other night.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
But why do you have to take messages on match folders?
Well, it was right there next to the telephone.
Couldn't you use the pad?
No, dear.
Why?
It was in the kitchen.
What was the telephone pad doing in the kitchen?
The kitchen table wobbles, Jerry.
Oh.
I still don't see what you're making such a fuss about.
I threw the folder away.
Oh. When?
Just now, a few minutes ago, somewhere between here and the apartment. Come on, let's retrace our steps and see if we can find it.
All right. Jerry, are you sure it's not in your pocket?
Positive. There was only one match left, and I used it. I remember distinctly because I was so pleased with myself for lighting the cigarette on a single match with the wind blowing.
Well, then you should remember where.
Darling, I don't make it a point to notice my surroundings every time I stop to light a cigarette. Oh, wait a minute. What's that?
A chewing gum wrapper. You know, Jerry, I don't think you're fair. You threw the match folder away, and then you blame me.
Of course I threw it away. It was empty. How was I to know there was anything written on it?
Well, I don't
see why you have to be so mean about it.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. It's just that I'm anxious to talk to Lawrence. I won't say anything more about it. But let's try to find the folder.
Oh, well, there's a pile of rubbish, Jerry. Maybe it's in there.
Well, let's see. No, that's not it. Maybe under here. You know, if you could only remember the name of his hotel, try and think.
Hotel, it began with an R. Was it an M? Oh, I know. Caldwell.
Caldwell?
No, that's not it. Anyway, Jerry, I couldn't help it, could I?
Couldn't help what?
That one leg of the kitchen table is short.
I guess not.
What you doing, mister?
Oh, hello, son. We're looking for a match folder.
I got a match.
Thanks. That's not what we want. It's the folder.
A special one?
Yeah, orange, and it has the name of the Zigzag Club on it.
Zigzag Club?
Uh-huh. Look, I'll tell you what I'll do. That match folder is somewhere between here and 24 St. Anne's Place. You help us look for it, will you? If you find it, I'll give you $5.
$5? Gee!
That's right. And we'd better get back to the apartment, Pam. Maybe Lee Lawrence will phone again.
But the movie...
Oh, I don't care so much for... What's her name, after all?
Good evening, Axel. Nice evening. Beautiful evening.
Stinks.
Okay, so it stinks.
What do you have?
Nothing.
On the wagon?
I'm here on business. Where's Dutch?
In the back.
Well, I want to see him.
Lulu's with him, and he don't want to be disturbed.
Yeah, but this is important. It's about the North.
Oh. Okay, come on. Hey, you see this tooth?
Which one?
The one that's missing.
No, I don't see it. It ain't there.
You know why?
No.
I walked in on the boss and Lulu once before.
Well, this time not.
Okay. Who is it? It's me, Axel. What do you want? Pinky wants to see you. Says it's important. Something about them Norths. Oh, all right. Wait a minute.
Okay, Pinky, what's on your mind?
Would you pay $5 for a folder of matches?
Huh?
I said, would you pay $5?
What kind of matches?
Ordinary ones, like they give you when you buy cigarettes.
Are you nuts?
Look, you don't like that North guy, do you?
Look, you said something about matches.
The Norths helped put the law onto your brother, didn't they?
Okay, so I hate him. If it wasn't for them, Mac wouldn't be giving the best years of his life to the warden at Sing Sing. What's that got to do with buying match covers for $5?
Well, if North was mixed up in something fishy now.
Is he?
Could be.
Come on, open up. What gives? What do you know?
Well, when a guy offers $5 for a folder of ordinary matches, wouldn't you detect a strong odor of mackerel?
You mean North wants to pay $5 for matches?
That's what I overheard him offer a kid on the street. Look, North lost a folder of matches, and if the kid could find it right...
I'd like to see that folder.
Suppose I found it. Suppose I got it right here in my pocket.
Have you?
And suppose it has a name and a phone number on it.
Okay, suppose it has.
Well, what's it worth to you?
That all depends. Maybe it don't amount to anything.
Yeah? Then why is North so anxious to get it back?
Well, we'll see. Let's have the folder.
Oh, not so fast. I got to get something out of this.
Okay. Give me the folder. I'll call the number and say I'm North. I'll find out what the setup is. And if it's worth anything to me, you'll be taken care of.
How do I know I can trust you?
I got an honest face. Come on, let's have the folder.
Well, all right, but I got to get my cut.
Okay. Where's the folder?
Here you are.
Good. Come in.
What's going on, Dutch?
Be with you in a second, honey. I'm going to make a phone call.
Oh, what's it all about, Axel? Oh, hello, Pinky.
Hello.
Pinky found some $5 matches and the boss got interested.
Say, what are you trying to...
Hello?
Hello?
Is that Mr. Lawrence? Eugene Lawrence?
Yes, this is he.
Oh, well, this is Gerald North.
Oh, hello there. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Okay. Say, look, I've been thinking over what you suggested, and I've decided you're right.
Yeah? Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it would spoil the whole thing if the murder is discovered too soon.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
It has to be kept quiet, and it won't be hard. After all, if Mrs. Stokes keeps to her story, there's no way for anyone to find out except the doctor, and he can be bought off.
Bought off, huh?
It all fits together. She got all the money from her uncle, so money doesn't matter to her, and it's right in character.
In character?
Sure, and wait till you hear the new angle I've got so no one will find out her uncle was crazy.
Crazy, huh?
I don't want to tell you over the phone. I'd rather have more time to talk it over. Are you busy now? I could run over.
Oh, yeah, sure. Come on over.
Are you home?
Yeah, I'm home.
Oh, good. I'll be right over. Let's see. The address is 24 St. Anne's Place, isn't it?
I guess, yeah, sure.
Fine. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Now, so long.
So long.
What's going on, Sugar?
Plenty. Boy, oh boy, am I gonna make that Weisenheimer sweat.
I told you to be good.
What Weisenheimer, Dutch?
That North guy, I'm gonna square things with him and that dumb wife of his.
Oh, but how? Who was that you were talking to on the phone?
Friend of North. Seems they're covering up for some rich dame who knocked somebody off. And aren't they just gonna love it, though, when little Dutch walks in and tells them he knows all about it?
Well, what do I get out of it?
You'll get yours, don't worry. The dame has a lot of dough she got from her batty uncle, and she's willing to spend it to keep things quiet.
Well, she better pay plenty or I'm gonna...
Okay. Come on, Axel. You and me are going over and collect.
Okay, boy. Hey, how about me?
You wait here. We'll be back.
All right, but hit him for plenty. And remember, I gotta get what's coming to me.
Don't worry, brother. You will. But first, North is going to get what's coming to him. Come on, Axel.
We'll be back with the Woodbury Facial Soap program and Mr. and Mrs. North in a minute. But first, this is Ben Grauer for Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap made for the skin alone. When a man says he likes you to look natural, ladies, you know what he means. He wants you to look naturally lovely. And that's why those smart young beauties, the marrying Woodbury Debs, never miss their Woodbury Facial cocktail. One of the most glamorous Woodbury Debs to marry recently is pretty Joanne Newcomb of California. She's now Mrs. Guy Price, Jr. Her complexion is velvet smooth and clear. And if you could ask her about skin care, she'd tell you...
He loves me with that fresh, natural look my Woodbury facial cocktail gives. So I pat Woodbury lather into my skin till it glows, then rinse twice, first with hot water and then with cold.
How does it happen that so many popular girls trust their complexions to no soap but Woodbury? Because Woodbury facial soap is made for the sole purpose of keeping skin lovely, by skin scientists who know the nature of fine-textured skin and how to care for it. They put into Woodbury facial soap only the purest beauty oils, plus a special costly ingredient for extra mildness. Naturally, your skin is softer, smoother, clearer after a Woodbury facial cocktail. So ask for Woodbury facial soap and follow the marrying Woodbury Debs to romance. Now back to the Woodbury facial soap program, The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North.
Hello. I'm Eugene Lawrence.
Oh, swell. Come on in.
Thanks. Oh, it's good to meet you, North. After all the letters we've written back and forth, it seems like we already know each other.
Yes, gosh, I'm glad you came over. I've been trying to get hold of you, but your number was mislaid, and I didn't know where to reach you.
I beg your pardon?
I said I didn't know where to reach you, or I'd have called.
But you did call.
I did?
I mean... Huh? Don't you remember?
No, what are you talking about?
Our conversation about the book.
You mean what I wrote to you?
No, what you told me on the phone.
On the phone?
Huh?
But I... Oh, here's my wife. Pam, I want you to meet Eugene Lawrence.
Oh, hello, Mr. Lawrence. I'm so glad that you didn't wait for Jerry to phone you, because there was only one match left, and Jerry threw away the folder.
What's that?
Yes. I suppose it's really my fault, but you see, one leg of the kitchen table was short, and I put the pad under it, so I had to use the folder.
Oh.
We looked all over the street, but we couldn't find it. Jerry even got down on his knees in the gutter.
In the gutter?
In the gutter.
Well, what was he doing there?
Well, looking for your telephone number, of course.
Perhaps I'd better go.
Oh, but you just got here, Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, well, I know, but Miss North, just answer one question. Did you or did you not talk to me on the phone about 15 minutes ago?
Just a second.
We couldn't have, Mr. Lawrence. We weren't here.
Hello? Hello, North. We're coming in.
No,
Come on.
wait a minute.
Okay,
wait
boy.
a minute.
Come on, Mrs. North. Axel and me thought we'd pay you a little visit.
Well...
And this must be that Eugene Lawrence guy.
How do you know about me?
It ain't how I know, brother. It's what I know.
Well, what do you know?
Plenty.
Just what is it you want?
We come to the point. Cash.
For what?
For keeping my mouth shut.
About what?
About a certain dame named Mrs. Stokes.
What?
Yeah, I know all about her. I know her uncle was batty and she didn't want anyone to know it. I know she knocked off a guy and is willing to put up her uncle's dough to keep it quiet. Well, I'm going to have a hunk of that dough, a big hunk. What are you laughing at?
You think that... Say, how'd you find out about that?
All of a sudden, that ain't so funny, eh?
I think I'm beginning to understand a few things at last.
Okay. What I want to know is, do we talk business or don't we?
I'm afraid you're barking up the wrong tree, my friend.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's all a mistake.
Okay. Make like you ain't worried. But you'll think different when I spill what I know to the cops.
You're just wasting your time.
I know. You think on account of you got friends on the force, they'll go easy. Well, let me tell you, a cop is a copper.
You don't know how funny this is.
So it's funny. Do you make me an offer or don't you?
We don't.
Good. I was kind of hoping you'd take this attitude on account I got ethics. And if you paid, I'd have shut up. But I always wanted to see you squirm, and brother, I'm going to. Come on, Axel.
Okay, boss.
And when things get hot, North, don't think you'll get out of it by putting it all on that Mrs. Stokes. By covering her, you've been obstructing justice. And that makes you an...
accessory after the fact.
Yeah, an accessory after the fact. Well, let's go, Axel. I got a phone call to make. And then I got an idea this isn't going to seem so funny to these punks.
Oh, Bill, surely you don't take it seriously.
All I know is that it wouldn't be the first time you and Pam held out on me.
It's really too silly to discuss. The whole thing's been a ridiculous comedy of errors.
Don't you see, Lieutenant? He must have been the one who called me. And when I told him about the book...
All right. You told me that before. When the Norths get mixed up in something, there's always some explanation. And usually it turns out that the explanation is phony and that something really is going on.
Bill, do you mean to tell me that you're taking the word of a criminal against ours?
Well, I don't know that he is a criminal. I don't know who it was who called me. He wouldn't give his name.
It was that awful Dutch Garber. You know, we helped you catch his brother. And he's had it in for us ever since.
Besides, Bill, since when have the police taken such stock in anonymous phone calls?
When they concern the North.
Oh, Bill, come on. Forget it, won't you? It's really funny. I only wish you could see the joke.
Yeah, so do I.
Say, this gives me an idea for the book. Look, after they pay off the doctor...
Wait a minute. I've got to answer the phone.
Oh, you're not going to keep on being silly about this, are you, Bill?
Okay, Pam, just call me Sucker Wagon and let's forget the whole thing.
Well, I'm sorry you don't trust us.
It's for you, Bill.
Oh, right, thanks. Yeah, Mullins. What's that? Who? I see. Right, okay, I'll be right over. So long. Well, so it was all a gag, huh? Just something out of a book. You know, someday I ought to lock you Norse up just to teach you a lesson.
What are you talking about?
What happened, Bill?
It was Dutch Garber who called me,
Well, he said he was going to call you.
But it didn't amount to anything, did it? He thought he knew something, but it was just a lot of eyewash out of this fellow's book.
What are you driving at? What's happened?
Well, it seems that one of your fictional characters resented the call.
What do you mean?
I mean that Dutch Garber has just been found with a couple of slugs in him.
What?
He's dead?
Right. Now, don't try to tell me that this is just Chapter 18. You've got a real corpse with real lead in him. You folks had better start talking, and talking fast.
Gollies, I thought for a while that Bill was really going to lock us up, Jerry.
Well, he's pretty sore, and I suppose you can't blame him.
Now he'll never trust us again. Not unless we can solve this case and show him that we had no connection with it. Jerry, that's why I want to go down to Dutch's saloon. If we can find that fellow who was with him, he may be able to tell us something.
I've got it all worked out.
You mean you...
After the doctor is paid off, Mrs. Stokes hides the body.
Oh, that.
Must we go into it now?
Well, wait until you hear the gimmick I've got. That place you didn't like. This fixes it up. I
It's a twist that'll be a sensation.
I wonder why Bill let us go.
He saw he couldn't get anything out of us. It's dark, see? And she drags the body out of the car and dumps it in the river. But what she doesn't know is that...
here we are.
The body that was in the car...
Not now, please. Please. We have work to do. Here, driver, keep the change.
Thanks. Golly. Not a very inviting place, is it?
Well, it was your idea, darling. I've seen nicer places than this in nightmares.
And nicer people.
Yes.
Jerry, see if you can find the fellow who was with Mr. Dutch. You know, the one he called Axel.
Are you looking for me, Mrs. North?
Oh, I didn't see you.
What do you want?
We just wanted to ask you a few questions.
Suppose I don't want to answer.
Oh, that is hard at the EB hospital. All we want to know is where you and Dutch went when you left our apartment.
What's it to you?
Oh, we just want to know.
I come here. I don't know where Dutch went, so what?
Where did Dutch say he was going?
He didn't.
Haven't you any idea whom he was going to see?
Go peddle your paper someplace else. I ain't got time to bother with you.
I'm sorry. I thought you might be willing to help.
Help what?
Help us find who killed Dutch.
Who killed him? Say, what are you talking about?
Dutch is dead, and we're trying
Why,
to find...
you dirty rat.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Yeah? Nobody's bumping off the boss and getting away with it, see?
What are you doing with that gun? We didn't bump off the boss.
Oh, no? Now I see why you thought it was so funny when he told you what he knew. You was all ready to take care of him,
Don't be silly.
Get back to your table, Jim Muggs, and sit down. I'll handle this.
Please, Mr. Axel, put that gun away. It's all a mistake.
I'll put it away when I'm finished with it.
Oh, gollies, everything's gone wrong. And all because one leg of the kitchen table is short.
Before we return to Woodbury's Mr. and Mrs. North, this is Ben Grauer for Woodbury Facial Soap. Ladies, when you work up a good bubbly lather of Woodbury on your face cloth and work it into your skin, you do more than make it immaculately clean. When you run your hand over your face, you find it softer and smoother. And when you look in your glass, you see a complexion livelier, more glowing. For Woodbury Facial Soap is truly a beauty treatment in cake form, as any glamorous Woodbury Deb will tell you. Now listen to what one of the loveliest has to say about it. She's Joanne Newcomb Price, a Woodbury Deb just married out in California. And she has a fine textured complexion that needs especially gentle care. Yet patriotic Joanne is not one to just sit around and look pretty. She's an ardent victory gardener and sells what she grows for war relief. And here's what she writes.
Gardening's dirty work, but my skin stays clear and bright with Woodbury. Even California sunshine doesn't dry or coarsen my complexion. I love the clean feel and look of my skin after a Woodbury facial cocktail. He loves it, too.
Why don't you follow the marrying Woodbury Debs to romance? Ask for Woodbury Facial Soap. That's Woodbury, Woodbury, the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch. Alice Frost and Joseph Curtin, the stars of Mr. and Mrs. North, will appear next Sunday night on Woodbury's other program, the Chamber Music Society of Lower Basin Street. Be sure to hear Mr. and Mrs. North on Lower Basin Street next Sunday evening, immediately following Walter Winchell. Consult your local newspaper for time and station. Now, back to the Woodbury Facial Soap program, The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North.
Okay, now. Get moving. In the back.
Just a minute. Won't you please put that gun away and listen to reason?
I ain't interested.
Look, Axel, what makes you so sure that we're the ones who bumped off the boss?
Any dope would know that.
Oh.
Didn't anyone know he was going to try to blackmail us?
Well, yeah.
Well, isn't it possible that they thought that we paid the boss and they killed him in order to rob him?
Well,
Of course. There's your answer, Axel. Who knew Dutch was going to come over?
Wait a minute, not so fast. You're just trying to get out of it.
Oh, no, we're not. But if you want to make an example, you ought to make it out of the right person.
But how do I know the right person ain't you, huh?
Would we have come here if we'd killed Dutch?
I don't know.
There'd have been no point in it. It would have been suicide.
Why did you come?
We want to find out who killed Dutch, and if you'd only help us, then we'd
okay. I guess you're right.
It feels good to breathe again.
All right, Mr. Axel. Now, who knew that Dutch hoped to get money from us?
Well, Pinky and,
Yes?
only Pinky, that's all.
I thought you were going to say someone else.
I says only Pinky.
All right.
Where can we find Pinky?
That's him over there. Hey, Pinky, come here.
Has he been here ever since you got back?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Hey, did I see a bit of gunplay a moment ago?
Just a little disagreement. Think nothing of it.
Don't worry. I'll only think something of it if something like that didn't happen in this place. Oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs. North.
Oh, I see you know us.
Oh, yes, I get around.
I'd like to ask you a question, Mr. Pinky.
Go right ahead, but I don't promise an answer.
Where were you while Axel and Dutch were out calling on us?
Right here. Why?
Can you prove it?
Maybe. What's it to you?
Oh, nothing. Only you may have to.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And now may I ask a question?
Sure. Little John Kieran, that's me.
Who's that pretty girl at your table?
Lulu?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah, that's Lulu. Dutch's girl.
Leave her out of this.
Oh, but Axel, with her looks, it's a shame to leave her out.
But she don't know nothing, see?
Shame on you, Axel. That's no way to talk about a young lady.
I mean about Dutch's murder.
Dutch's murder? Hey, what do you mean?
Axel, you've spilled the beans.
Hey, is Dutch been...
As if you didn't know.
No, Axel, honest, I was here the whole time.
Well, while you two decide who was where, I'm going over and talk to Glamourpuss.
Wait a minute, Nort. I tell you she didn't know nothing, see?
That's all right. With her looks, she doesn't have to. I just want to talk to her.
Well, I'm going with you.
So am I.
Okay.
Jerry, I'm surprised at you. She's nothing but a painted floozy.
Well, I've always been an admirer of painting, sweetheart. Hello, gorgeous. May we join you?
Sure, big boy. Sit down. Who's the dame with you?
Oh, don't mind her. She's a little number I picked up in the subway. Pinky will take her off my hands, won't you, pal?
Jerry.
See, you've got ideas, but my boyfriend will be coming back soon, and he's not going to like them.
Dutch?
Yeah. You know him?
Sure. But don't worry about Dutch. He won't be coming back for a long time.
How do you know?
I know. So, come on. Let's be friends.
Take your hands off of her.
Why? She likes me. Don't you, honey?
Well...
See?
Leave her alone.
Go away, Axel. I'm busy.
I see you are.
North, if you don't leave her alone, I'm gonna...
Did you say North?
Yeah, Gerald North.
Hey, what is this?
Oh, Axel, now you went and spoiled it all.
What is this, North? What's going on? What are you trying to do?
That's what I'd like to know.
Just checking on a motive?
What do you mean?
Well, I never really believed robbery was the motive because the murderer couldn't know where the Dutch had the money. So I began looking for another motive, and I think I've found it.
Motive? Murder? Hey, what are you talking about?
About Dutch. He's been murdered.
Hey, Lolo, please.
I have an idea it was Axel who murdered him. Because you were in love with Dutch's girl.
Oh, Axel, you
and you figured this would be a good time to do it because Dutch had just informed on me, so I'd be suspected instead of you. After all, you thought I was already involved in one murder, so I was a natural fall guy.
No, you don't. Don't reach for that gun again. Let go. Not yet, brother. Hey, Pinky.
All right. Look out. Pinky has a chance.
Hey, Lawrence, how about some help? Right on over. Get you. Watch out for those two guys. That guy's head's like a rock. This is what I was trying to tell you, North, about the book. There's a free-for-all, and then...
Hey, break it up. Come on, break it up. I got you covered, all of you. Top, right. Put up your hands, you mug.
Axel's going for the door.
Look out, Pam. We're in the line of fire, so Bill can't shoot. Here, duck under the stairs.
All right. We got down just in time.
Yeah, Bill's driven him into the corner.
Come on, drop your guns and come out of there. You can't get away. The place is surrounded. Okay, Mr. U.S.
You see, North, there's this free-for-all, and then the cops break in and arrest Mrs. Stokes, and then comes the switch. It isn't Mrs. Stokes. Mrs. Stokes is the corpse. And now I ask you, is that a switch or is that a switch?
Bill jumped him and got him.
Well, North, how does the plot strike you now?
Not so hard.
Why? What's the matter with it?
Well, somehow I found it awfully hard to keep my mind on it.
So that's why Bill let us go.
Yeah, he knew he couldn't get us to talk, so he let us go and followed us, thinking we'd lead him into something.
Well, we certainly did.
Mm-hmm.
Golly, Jerry, he came right in the nick of time. Just like the Marines. Oh, it certainly was lucky he followed us.
Lucky?
Well, wasn't it?
Pam, do you think I'm crazy?
What do you mean, dear?
Do you think I'd have gotten into a fight with a murderer in a dive like that if I didn't know the police had been following me?
Oh, you knew all the time.
Of course. But even so, it was a pretty bad few minutes. I hope I'll never have to go through anything like it again.
Well, I know what you can do to prevent it.
What?
You can fix that leg on the kitchen table.
Starting today, your bookseller has on sale the latest Mr. and Mrs. North mystery novel. It's titled Killing the Goose. Get a copy of Killing the Goose tonight. And next Wednesday evening, another radio adventure of Mr. and Mrs. North, starring Alice Frost and Joseph Curtin. For thrills and laughs, be sure to listen, won't you? Music for Mr. and Mrs. North is conducted by Charles Paul. This is Ben Brower saying good night for Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch.
Never change.
And now, here is your Wheaties man, Frank Martin. Go out and get the Wheaties. It's National Wheaties Week. Yep, this is the week everybody's trying Wheaties. See yourself how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11. A better breakfast beginning with Wheaties can help make a wonderful difference because there's a whole kernel of wheat in every Wheaties flake. So eat happy, work happy. Wheaties, breakfast of champions. Get yours. Get yours. It's National Wheaties Week.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch.
You're lovely, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause you're lovely, just the way you look tonight.
Woodbury, the makers of Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap made for the skin alone, present The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North. The Norths woke up one morning and discovered it was February. Pam said, "Jerry, let's go to the dog." "By all means," Jerry replied. "Where's the champagne?" But that wasn't what Pam meant. She meant the dog show at the Uptown Garden. And after Jerry had said something about in leap year, woman proposes while man opposes, and after Pam had thrown a pillow at him, they got dressed and went to the dog. Dog.
Aren't they adorable?
Uh-huh. I feel unnatural. 2 legs. We're outnumbered.
I guess this isn't a good hour for visiting.
Oh, the dogs don't mind.
Oh, Jerry, what breed is that?
Schnauzer.
God bless you. What breed?
Schnauzer.
God bless you. Jerry, you're catching cold.
I'm not sneezing. That dog is a Schnauzer.
Oh, huge. Oh, look, Jerry, a Great Dane. Isn't he beautiful?
Let's move on, dear.
Why?
I think he thinks I'm a bone.
Oh, you're not afraid, are you, darling?
No, I just don't want to confuse him, make him neurotic.
All right, scaredy cat. Oh, Jerry, look.
That's a Yorkshire Terrier.
I don't care. That dog's been to the movies.
Saw Veronica Lake and copied her hairdo, huh?
I'm positive. The only thing is, this dog's overdoing it. It's got a peekaboo contraption in front of both eyes.
Darling, the Yorkshire Terrier's long, silky hair was developed along the upland moors, protected from the rain and wind.
Don't show off, dear. You've read a book. Oh, this one's cute.
That French poodle, he looks as if a landscape gardener had worked him over.
Oh, he's very distinguished looking. You see, he understands me.
I've seen lawns better clipped than that. The tag here says he is Champion Peter Cavalier.
I knew it.
Did you also know he belonged to, let's see, La Comtesse de la Porte?
Oh, I can just see myself now walking down Madison Avenue with Peter on the leash.
Uh-huh. And I would bow to you and kiss your hand.
Jerry, you silly.
And I would say, Countess, you have the most beautiful dog I have ever seen. There is nothing in the world I would love more than to pat your dog sometimes, Countess.
Please.
And not another word, Countess?
But, Jerry, there's somebody breathing down the back of my neck.
Huh? That's right. Hey, you stop breathing down the back of her neck.
I'm doing it only in the line of duty, pal.
Jerry, there's somebody right behind you.
No, friend, don't turn around. Introductions later.
Hey, what is this?
This is a snatch. You are acquainted with the term, Countess?
Countess? Me? Jerry.
Keep your voice low, little lady. Otherwise, Sam, who ain't poking you in the ribs with no clothespin, will have to shoot you.
Oh, is that right, Sam?
The Duke knows the words, Countess.
Countess? But I'm
Let
not
us leave the dogs. Come on.
Jerry.
Look, there's been some mistake
One
here.
little funny move and you'll be making a mistake. Walk nice and quiet out the front door, both of you. That's right. Otherwise comes the hearse, and they'll be carrying you out nice and quiet.
Anyway, it's a nice car.
Thank you, Countess.
But I am not a countess.
Did we or did we not hear that gent sitting next to you call you Countess?
You did, but Jerry was only joking.
Some joke. Oh.
She's my wife.
You the Count?
Of course not.
Then the little lady ain't your wife.
Oh, wait a minute. Duke, if you...
Yeah?
Are you really a duke?
Nah, sort of a nickname.
All right. That's the way it is with Pam.
Sure. Only she's got a couple of million Iron Men in the bank. I ain't. My estate was impoverished.
The Duke knows the words.
I'm supposed to be French if I'm the countess, but I'm not.
How do we know?
Well, you can hear me talk, can't you? I speak English, don't I? Just like you.
You speak like us?
Duke, she sounds like a foreigner to me, she does.
If she's the countess, what am I supposed to be?
There is a word for it.
The Duke knows...
Quiet, Sam. The word is gigolo.
Me?
Why, you... Relax there, dancing pumps, or I'll give you a revolver full.
Jerry, please.
Now, we are all men of the world here, ain't we? Excepting, of course, the Countess.
Thank you.
I mean nothing. As I was saying, the Countess is young. She is beautiful.
Why, Duke?
She is a babe with plenty of bread pudding. The Count, on the other hand, is broke. He is on the shabby side of gentility. So he collects stamps, while the Countess collects gigolos. You are one of them, a very fine specimen. My congratulations, Countess.
I am not a gigolo.
Listen, mister, don't get so excited. It's good work if you can get it.
Hey, boss, we're leaving town. We gotta decide.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
What do you have to decide?
Well, you see, Countess Original, we didn't figure on snatching more than one. You. Circumstances made us grab off the boyfriend, too. The question is, what do we do with him?
You'll just have to take him along with me.
Hey, Duke, I think we ought to chill him.
I don't know. He looks like a nice guy.
Yeah, but, Duke, we gotta feed the kidnapped victim. We just ain't got enough of brown stamps for two of them.
You got something here. All right. We chill him.
Oh, but you don't have to do that. Brown stamps are for meat, and Jerry's a vegetarian.
Oh. What do you say, Sam?
Well, in case he wants to eat grass, let him live.
Yeah, what I was figuring. Besides, it'll kind of keep the little lady's mind occupied. In a kind of way, you could call it almost a second honeymoon.
Good grief, where are we going? Niagara Falls?
The old homestead. Here we are.
Yeah. Ain't it beautiful?
If you took our blindfolds off, maybe we could appreciate it, too.
We'd learn to love it.
We couldn't have you see where we was taking you.
Why not?
Maybe you wouldn't have liked the place. Then we would have had to shoot you.
Can we take them off now?
Go ahead. Keep them covered, Sam.
Like a tent, Duke.
There. That's better. Oh, golly, it's dark. Who put the lights out?
Lady, we are in the country. where the only lights is the stars.
That Duke.
I prefer lamppost. Is that landslide and old stucco the homestead?
Lady, maybe the joint looks like a wreck. But I'll tell you, it not only looks like a wreck...
Yeah, it is a wreck. Custer must have made his last stand around here.
If you don't like the accommodations, Sam will be glad to donate a little lead to you.
Never mind, he needs it more than I do. I mean, shall we go in?
Proceed. Wait a minute, goon. The Countess goes first.
Why?
Noblesse oblige.
Huh? Why?
That, freely translated, means oblige the nobles. Countess, you first.
Thank you very, very much.
You know, Duke, that noblesse oblige stuff ain't so bad.
No?
No. Not when a babe like the Countess leads the parade.
That was a nice dinner.
Yeah, it sure. No, you don't, Gigolo.
Oh, don't you hit Jerry's wrist with that gun.
Well, I warned him not to reach for no meat.
Sorry, I forgot myself.
Yeah. Hey, I thought you was a vegetarian.
I am.
No. Well, no meat.
Okay. Pass me another head of lettuce. Thanks.
Now, Countess, the time has come when business has got to be discussed. We got to get sorted.
You can do that with practically no effort.
Thank you, Count. Now, we know the Count ain't got no dough. You got it. So we brought along a check. You sign the check, we force the Count to cash it, and then he bails you out. What could be simpler?
You could just let us go.
Countess, the time for idle banter is past.
But she isn't the Countess.
Duke, I told you we should have chilled him even if he ain't no meat eater.
Jerry's right. I can't sign that check.
Maybe your hand is numb?
Well, no,
You sign this check for $50,000, or you and the boyfriend will both get numb all over and permanent.
Well, Jerry, you think he means it?
He means it.
All right. Give it to me. I'll sign it. Oh, I see you've got a whole checkbook.
Yeah, we're careful. We don't want no typographical errors. Sign it, baby.
Countess, if you please. Pen?
Take mine. It's got a lifetime guarantee.
Thank you. There.
Let me see. Oh, but, Countess, you signed this Pamela North. That ain't going to get us $50,000.
It's my name.
It'll be a name on a tombstone first thing you know. Sign that check, Isabel de la Porte, or the lifetime guarantee on you runs out.
If you insist.
I insist.
I thought you would. I hope you like my handwriting.
Let me see. Countess, I got $50,000 worth of liking for it. Sam, take him upstairs and lock him up. I'm going back to contact the Count, inform him about the snatch, and tomorrow morning we begin to live on our income. Good night, Countess. Noblesse oblige.
Noblesse oblige to you, too, Duke.
That's right, Countess. Noblesse oblige. So please go upstairs peaceful and oblige. Or no more noblesse.
Closed in, locked in.
The window, Jerry?
Not a chance. One of Duke's ancestors must have been a little peculiar.
What do you mean? Oh, iron bars on the window.
And dear Sam at the door. I think we'll stay.
Oh, darling. We are in a jam, aren't we?
Well, there's a bed in the room. We can sleep anyway.
Jerry, what are we going to do?
Oh, I wouldn't worry about that signature. They won't give you more than 10 years or so for forgery. And I'll be waiting for you at the prison gate.
That isn't what I meant, darling.
Oh.
When they find out, and they'll have to as soon as they try to cash that check, that I'm not really the Countess.
They'll kiss us goodbye.
Oh, no, Jerry. Not when we could be witnesses against them. I'm afraid, darling.
Well, maybe in the morning when...
Somehow, Jerry, I could wish that morning were a long way off.
We'll be back with Woodbury's Mr. and Mrs. North in just a moment. Now, this is Ben Grauer changing the subject to Woodbury facial soap and romance, to wedding bells, white satin, and lace, and to another Woodbury Deb who's just said, I do. She's lovely Martha Janie Baker of Toledo, and the lucky man is Private Charles L. Willoughby of Flint, Michigan. Janie writes,
Woodbury facial soap is practically a tradition with the women in our family.
So naturally, when Chuck saw Janie, it was a case of love at first sight. For nothing attracts a man's attention faster and holds it longer than a flawlessly lovely complexion. And now that Janie is Mrs. Charles L. Willoughby, a charming Air Force bride, she writes,
Woodbury soap really does things for a girl's skin. Romantic things.
Let it do the same for you. Give your skin the gentle care of the beauty soap that's made for the skin and skin alone. The soap that contains only the finest, purest beauty oils and a special costly ingredient for extra mildness. Yes, Woodbury facial soap is safe even for over-dry skin. Use Woodbury facial soap tonight, and then see even in the morning if your skin isn't brighter, smoother, softer to touch. See if he doesn't soon tell you so. Ask for Woodbury facial soap and follow the marrying Woodbury Debs to romance. Now, back to the Woodbury facial soap program, The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North.
Yes, darling.
Turn that rooster off.
You turn it off. It's on your side of... What did you say?
I said turn it... Oh. Somebody swiped out furniture.
Not to mention the house. Darling, we're staying with the Duke.
That's right.
And I'm the Countess.
I'm the King of England. What? I remember.
It's morning, Jerry.
The Duke should be back from town any moment.
Knowing that I'm not really the Countess.
Well, that's his mistake, not ours. We told him.
That isn't going to help much.
Convenient going to bed in your clothes. You don't have to dress. Sam, come here.
What is it, darling?
This window looks out over the road.
It's the Duke, Jerry. With a distinguished-looking man.
The Duke is showing him in. They came in that roadster. Fun make.
Jerry, that man's the Count. They snatched him, too.
Well, looks that way. But I don't know.
Well, good morning, Countess. Morning, slippery feet.
Sam, tell me, does that revolver grow from your hand?
Well, it's a nice thought. Come on down. The Duke's got company.
I don't really feel like entertaining just now. We'll just stay here.
Nothing doing. You'll go down. After all, it's about time the Countess met the Count. Right through that door. That's a good girl. Come on, you two, smooth hair.
We'll find our way.
Sam, somebody maybe followed me out here. Go on outside and keep a lookout.
Okay, Duke.
Now, Count, is that the Countess or ain't it?
My dear lady, may I apologize for this boor stupidity? May I also assure you that if it weren't for the fact that already I am married, nothing would delight me more than to make you my Countess.
That's very sweet of you.
Then she ain't the Countess.
When this ruffian here held me up and asked me to cash this check, I knew at once a mistake had been made. The signature is obviously not my wife's.
All right, tear it up.
With pleasure, sir. There.
Take it easy, Count. I wouldn't like you to die too quick. You two, North, sit down. So I made a mistake.
The lady resembles my wife somewhat, but that's all.
I was never married to her, so I can't tell. Sam!
Well, now that everything's been cleared up, we can all go home.
I ain't so sure. We're liable for the rap even if we snatch the wrong thing.
Well, what's up, Duke?
She ain't the Countess.
Well, are you sure the guy with the mustache is the Count?
Yeah, him I seen before. Sleepy fingered him for me.
Oh, so we got 3 boys, huh? And none of them can sing.
You might say 3 little bonds and no dividends.
Yeah, well, what do we do now? Close the book?
Look here.
Sit down, rosin souls, or I'll do it now.
Jerry.
I suggest we talk this over calmly. After all, why kill us?
No talk, no rap.
On the other hand, come over here, Sam.
Now, you 3 are covered, so behave. Okay, Duke, what do you think?
What do you think they're going to do?
Hard to tell. I do not think they will kill us. You see, in a way, I am a goose.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, well, I mean, if they kill me, they can never try to kidnap my wife again. I think they like the golden eggs, so they will do nothing.
I hope you're right about their bird-loving habits.
Gents and the lady, me and Sam have just been in conference.
Speech! Order in the court. What am I saying? Shut up, punk.
Permit me to continue. We loused up this snatch good. Whose fault it was, we ain't for the moment interested in. But the snatch was loused up.
Here.
So, on account of we invested our time and abilities, while you guys been inconvenienced a little, I figure we're even.
Bravo.
Thanks. Anyways, we're going to let you go. We're going to blindfold you, a mere necessity of business, drive you back in the count heap, and let you go free when we hit the city.
An equitable proposal.
My words exactly. We ain't sore at you on account of the little lady ain't no countess, and you shouldn't ought to be sore at us on account of we're returning you to your loved ones safe and sound.
The Duke knows the void.
Like the poet says, let bygones be bygones. I thank you.
Pleasant to get these blindfolds off.
I dare say that's the last we'll ever see of Sam and the Duke, fading down that suburban road in their own car.
I'm just as pleased.
But there's something that worries me. Count de la Porte.
Madame?
When the Duke showed you this check I signed, you knew it wasn't your wife's signature.
Well, of course I knew.
So you told the Duke that they must have kidnapped the wrong person. But there should have been another reason why you knew that.
I do not understand.
The Countess.
The Countess?
Pam means since the Countess wasn't kidnapped, she should have been home with you last night.
Oh, that. Well, you don't know the Countess, my lovely wife, Mr. and Mrs. North. She's never home. Sometimes weeks pass and I don't hear of her.
Still, the kidnappers knew that she was to be at the dog show. That means she is in town.
That is a subject I do not care to discuss. Can I drop you at your home?
No, I wish you'd do us a favor, Count. Stay on this street a few blocks more. I'll tell you where to stop.
Of course. Some friends?
No, Count. Some police. Pam, you and the Count stay in the car. I'll be out in a moment.
Your husband is very athletic.
He used to play football. Count, I'm worried about your wife.
I gave that up years ago.
For all we know, those gangsters may be after her this very minute. And there's Jerry. He's got Sergeant Mullins with him.
Well, what do you know about that? Kidnapped you, eh? They should have held on to you. I would have paid him myself regular.
Hello, Sergeant Mullins. This is Count de la Porte.
What's your name?
Count de la Porte.
How do you do? You're lucky. What do you mean? Usually when the Norths bring them in, they're dead.
Mullins, we've all been worrying about the whereabouts of the Countess. That's why I got you out here.
Heck, I don't know where she is.
But you see, I think I do. Try the rumble seat of this roadster, Mullins.
Huh?
Oh, he's mad. I don't like this.
Any objections? If there ain't nothing there...
You may do so.
Why, thank you. Just take a minute.
Jerry, you can see it.
Okay, Mr. North, I looked.
And, of course, you found nothing.
Not exactly, Count. Matter of fact, your wife is in that rumble seat. And she's dead. There's not one iota of doubt about the whole
thing. Please, Mullins, please. I've got something to say.
The guy killed his wife and he'll fry for it.
I don't think he did.
But, darling, it was his car.
He would have been a fool to hide her there. Count, you've got one chance.
What chance have I got?
A full confession.
I thought you said he didn't kill her.
Mr. North, I did not murder.
No, but you still have a confession to make. You hired Duke and Sam to kidnap your wife. You agreed to split the ransom money with them, didn't you? $25,000 for you, $25,000 for them. Because you had no money, you had to go to your wife for money all the time, and so you thought you'd get some this way. Am I right?
I say nothing.
I can prove it. First, those gangsters didn't blindfold you when they brought you to the hideout this morning.
That's right, darling. We saw him from the window.
Which proves you were in on the kidnap plot. Secondly, and more important, those gangsters didn't try to cash the check Pam signed on your own unsupported word. Why should they believe you? When you said Pam was not the Countess, they believed you again. Why?
I deny everything.
Better not. Otherwise, you'll go to the chair for murder instead of the jail for fraud. You've one chance. You better take it.
All right, I confess to the plot, but I did not kill her.
Of course not. Mullins, you've got to help.
Oh.
There's only one way we can get proof against the murderers. We've got to release the Count. We've got to announce that he's been cleared of a murder, and, Mullins, we mustn't say a single solitary word about his complicity in the kidnapping plot.
We mustn't. Why?
Because if we do, our trap won't catch a killer. Woodbury's Mr. and Mrs. North will be back in a minute. But first, this is Ben Grauer for Woodbury, the true skin soak. Have you noticed how many lovely Woodbury Debs are middle-aisling it these days? One of the loveliest is Martha Janie Baker of Toledo. Janie became Mrs. Charles L. Willoughby at a fashionable wedding at the Lombardy in New York. Now, a brand-new Air Force wife, she writes,
To keep him saying those nice things about my complexion, I always take my daily Woodbury facial cocktail. How I look forward to it at the end of each busy day. It gives me a new lease on love.
You can care for your complexion exactly the way glamorous Janie does, like this. First, she pins up her brown curls safely out of the way. Then she works up a thick, creamy lather of Woodbury soap on her face cloth. Now she buries her face in its warm fragrance. Massaging gently, she works it well up to her hairline, down over her throat, and around to the back of her neck. Next, she rinses thoroughly with clear, warm water. Then, with fresh, cold water, she gives a final bracing rinse. As she says, it gives her a new lease on love. Try it. Ask for Woodbury, 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 the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch. Now, back to the Woodbury Facial Soap program, The Adventures of Mr. and Mrs. North.
New York. Count de la Porte, according to the New York police, has been fully cleared of guilt in connection with the murder of his wife, the Countess Isabella de la Porte.
Turn that guy off, Sam. He knows too much.
Okay, wife of a very famous New York.
That is very good news, Sam. Just like we figured, they can't pin the killing on the Count.
So we play the parlay, huh? Gee, it's a good liquor the Count keeps.
That must be the Count now. Answer the door, Sam. The butler is unconscious in the cellar.
Certainly, me lord.
Oh, hello, Carlyle. I'm so sorry.
Duke? Yeah, and that ain't Carlyle.
It's me.
A pleasant surprise, Count. Take your coat off.
What do you want?
The Count is a real man of business, ain't he, Sam? Okay, pal, listen. Now the Countess is dead, you inherit the dough, right?
I suppose so.
We take half, or maybe 2/3.
You're crazy.
Otherwise, we go tell the cops all about how you hired us to kidnap your wife. Then they will reconsider your being innocent about knocking her off. Because on account of if you're such a low character you would kidnap her, you must have killed her.
But I did not.
It'd be a cinch to convince the jury.
Oh, then you killed her yourself.
Sure. Why try for 25 grand when we can make $1 million? Out of you. Sure. Sam dumped the body into the rumble seat when we was discussing life for the North.
But if you had really kidnapped the Countess, why did you also kidnap the North?
For witnesses tying you to the kidnap plot. Otherwise, who would believe us poor bums against your word? This way, you're tied to us. So you better prepare to share the wealth.
The Duke knows the words.
We know the music. Keep your hands up, both of you.
Who brung the gin down?
My husband. Isn't he cute?
Oh, Duke, I told you he should have killed that guy. Besides, I bet he even eats meat.
Oh, to get home.
A little while, darling. Oh, the poor Countess.
Poor Count. He's going to spend a long time in jail.
Mm-hmm. It was very clever of you to figure out the double cross that Duke and Sam were playing.
Well, no gangster would ever make a mistake in identification, as Duke and Sam pretended they had. Not when it was a $50,000 snatch they were planning.
Well, they certainly swiped the wrong witnesses. Oh, you're so smart, darling.
You too.
Mm-hmm. I wonder just how good a gigolo you would make if I were really a countess.
Well, you know what they get paid for, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Dancing.
Maybe, but I'll bet that isn't the word the Duke would have had for it. Friends, this is the most fateful year of the war. Across the Atlantic, the second front, the invasion starts now any day. And for that decisive struggle, our armed forces will need more fighting equipment than ever before. To provide this essential equipment for victory, the fourth war loan is on. Our men in uniform are ready to give their lives. All you are asked to do is lend your money. You get back $4 for every 3, and there's no safer investment. So buy all the bonds you can. Buy at least an extra $100 bond. Do without things you need. Use savings. Buy bonds. Let's all back the attack. Tune in again next week at this same time for another adventure of Mr. and Mrs. North, starring Alice Frost and Joseph Curtis. For thrills and laughs, be sure to listen, won't you? Music for Mr. and Mrs. North is conducted by Charles Paul. This is Ben Grauer saying good night for Woodbury Facial Soap, the beauty soap for the skin you love to touch.
Lovely, never, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause you're lovely, just the way you are tonight. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
If that's the game you're missing because of a mean cold, here's something you should know.
Every second someone takes it for the miseries of a cold. Millions more take bromo quinine. Every second someone takes it for the miseries of a cold. Bromo quinine.
More people have taken more bromoquinine cold tablets for more complete relief than any other cold tablet ever sold. You could take aspirin or other single-action cold remedies all day and not get bromoquinine's more complete relief, even for virus colds. Bromoquinine works to relieve stuffy nose, body aches, fever, irregularity, the blues, and headache. More complete relief, because bromoquinine is the only cold tablet sold with wonder-working quinine and 5 other medicines, health fortified with vitamin C. Remember,
every second someone takes it for the miseries of a cold. Millions more take bromo quinine.
Get bromoquinine brand cold tablet.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
The American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak for Hire. Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For hire. I got a couple of boats down on Pier 19 on the San Francisco waterfront. Sometimes I rent them out, but I found out it's easier to keep my budget healthy by risking my health in other ways. So I work around doing odd jobs. You can take that any way you like. Not the best you can say for it is that it beats begging. At least you don't always limp. If your luck's in, you can keep a half lap ahead of the bill collectors if you don't let it go to your head. I did once. I helped a guy who owned 7 hotels convince a blonde in San Rafael that her memory wasn't that good after all. The payoff was too rich for my blood. I got the idea that with that kind of money, I could take over the gambling joints up around Lake Tahoe. It took them 3 days to show me I was wrong. I'd worked my way down from the gold-plated joints to a place called the Broken T, where they still recognized $1 as currency. I was beginning to figure how long it'd take me to walk back to the bay when the help came along. He was a little guy with a pair of eyes I wouldn't trust with anything I wanted again. The kind of quiet, dark clothes that'd make it easy to get lost in an alley. He knew me.
Well, Novak, not doing so hard, are you?
I eat.
You want to make a quick buck?
There must be a reason. Tell me that first.
I'm hot. I shook the wheels down for a flock of dough.
You call that trouble?
Not yet. But I'd like to look ahead. How do I know these guys like it that I got all their money?
If it hurts you, give it back. They'll take it.
I got a better idea. I want to take it down to San Francisco.
Look, Crocker owns the Southern Pacific. If you got an urge to travel, talk to him. If you got a proposition, spread it out.
I'm driving down. It's a lonely road. I want you to go along as a bodyguard.
If these guys are out to hijack your road, 2 of us won't stop them any more than 1. They come in bunches when they want to.
Do you want the job, or are you going to talk me out of it?
I'll ride down with you for $200.
You charge a lot for a ride.
You said it's risky, remember?
Okay, here's 50. You get the rest in San Francisco. I see you outside for 5 minutes. My name's Brown. I'll be waiting in my car.
Brown, huh?
Yeah, Brown. John Brown. Want to make something of it?
How can you? He was a quiet guy. We drove along for a couple of hours, and you could have repeated all he said on one deep breath. I kept watching the cars along the road, waiting for the muscle boys to show up, but nothing happened. Pretty soon I got the feeling that they weren't after him at all. I guess he'd seen too many movies. I finished off a pack of cigarettes as we got down out of the mountains and got him to stop at a roadside joint for reloads. He wouldn't leave the car, so I was all alone when a girl came up to me at the bar.
You going down to San Francisco?
Something like that.
You got room for me?
How far are you going?
That depends on who I'm with.
You might be handy at that. Car's without a heater. I don't have to own it.
So you'll keep one hand on the wheel.
So you better ask the guy who does. He's sitting out in the car.
Why don't he come in?
Don't build him up so fast. I got a car, too.
Where'd you get it? Steal it?
You selling medical insurance, maybe?
Why?
You're going to need it if you keep elbowing into my face.
Speaking of elbows, what do you mean trying to muscle in on my dame?
You two together?
Yeah, why?
That's what I've been wondering. Why? So long, sucker.
What do you make of that?
I'd say you're out. You don't have to slide.
You're to blame for this.
Yeah. And tomorrow I'm going to make it rain.
I can start a storm right now.
Go right ahead. You got the wind.
Wait.
You cooled him nice, stranger. What started that?
Bad habits.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. Too many cigarettes. I guess I didn't have to hit the guy, but I was all geared up over the ride. I had to take it out on somebody. Outside, the air was cold and clear. A river made soothing noises in the darkness. I figured it'd be an easy night from then on in, but Brown was having the fidgets.
Come on, Novak. Let's get going.
Where's the dame?
What dame?
One came out here, a hitchhiker, wanted to ride to town.
I didn't see any dame. Come on, let's go.
Oh, that's queer.
What's queer? Let's go, let's go.
Suddenly you're nervous. What's the matter?
When I need a doctor, Novak, I know where to find one.
Yeah? Can you find one whose shakes synchronize with yours? Otherwise, he's going to have a tough time with your pulse. From there on into town, John Brown didn't say a word. When we came across the Bay Bridge, he stopped in the terminal and made a phone call. Then we drove up to his place, a big corner apartment house up near the Civic Center. He told me to wait in the car while he went in to put away the money. I sat and smoked cigarettes and watched the dawn begin to light up the long, empty streets. I must have been there half an hour before anything happened. Then it all began to happen at once, starting with Hellman. A homicide detective with a grudge against the world that he takes out on me. I hope I didn't keep you waiting, Novak. Well, what got you out of bed, Hellman? Can't be insomnia. That takes conscience.
You'd be the sort to know about that. Mind if I let the car over?
Why not? I didn't steal this one. I prefer a roadster.
John Brown, huh? Now, there's a name. Where have I heard that before?
That's a foreign name. Polish, I think.
That's not where I heard it. It was broadcast in connection with a stolen car.
Try again. The keys, see?
So maybe he was careless and left his keys in his car.
Yeah, maybe I'm whimsical and changed my name to Brown. Go on, Hellman. You can't pin anything on me.
No. Give me the keys.
What for?
I'm looking in the trunk. We got a tip.
Not on this crate. We just got in from Tahoe. Nobody knows we're here.
Sure. And if you aren't here, I guess there's nothing in the trunk either.
I'll bite.
What'd you find? A body? A girl's body? I'm not intruding, am I?
Not on me. You better get Brown. He's in the apartment there.
Sure. But won't you be lonely?
Look, Brown hired me to ride down from Tahoe with him. He cleaned up at the tables and wanted protection for his role. It's his car and his girl. Let's get him.
All right, come on. Oh, Brown listed. Nervous? Upset? Maybe you need a rest.
Framed.
Sure, somebody else did it. Shame on them. Come on, Nova.
The girl was a pickup, a hitchhiker. Why should he kill her?
I got a better question for you. Where can I get a lawyer?
I saw a purse with the body. Let's look it over.
Don't tell me you didn't rob her, too.
The purse didn't turn up much. Some keys, a little mad money, makeup stuff. A letter to Alice Stone with an address out in the Potrero district. The letter was no good, just a guy trying to patch up a split. I had a hunch that Brown must have known Alice. That was the only way the killing made sense. I needed to get some dope on Brown. I needed to know about Alice. Hellman took Brown's address off the registration card, and I couldn't see where that had helped me any. No one had seen us together all the way down from Tahoe. Even if Brown were picked up, he could swear he'd never seen her before. With the car listed as stolen, he was a cinch to prove it. Now, I needed help bad. So I started looking for my old friend Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor turned boozer who had more connections around town than the water department. I ran him down in a trap on Ellis Street trying to hold back the recession in liquor sales.
Hello, Patsy, my boy. Join me. This is the first one today.
Look, I'm in trouble, Jocko.
You're in trouble. Think how I feel.
What's the matter, sick?
No, just worried. I was reading in the paper here that the good ship Clyde Harris went down off the New England coast last night with 10,000 cases of scotch on board.
Yeah, there's some left. Listen, Jocko, I'm in a jam.
When did that become news?
I was up at Tahoe, and a guy hired me to drive him down here.
He didn't know you.
It turns out the car is stolen, and there's a body in it. And the guy's disappeared.
I don't blame him.
The body belonged to a girl named Alice Stone at this address.
10,000 cases of scotch. Can you imagine that?
And the way I figure it, the girl must have known the killer. I'm not very sure that John Brown, who claims his car was stolen, is innocent either. It's mighty strange that he left the car keys lying around.
What'd you want me to do?
Get on the grapevine. Find out if this John Brown is tied up in the rackets. The same for Alice Stone. Find out if they ran around with each other. Whatever you can about them.
All right, Patsy, but you'll have to wait. I've got to catch up on my drinking first.
Can't you lay off this stuff for a little while?
Are you telling me how to live my life again? You who consort with murderers, car thieves, and women of dubious ways? Push the bottle over here.
Look, Jocko. See if you can put the finger on a neat little guy with a pair of con man's eyes. Black hair, toy mustache, and dresses like Dapper Dan. About 150 pounds.
Imagine you trying to tell me how to live. You who've got more bad habits than a dope fiend's convention.
The guy goes for dark, expensive clothes. He doesn't talk much unless he has to.
When I drink, I get the hangover. All you have to do is breathe regularly, and trouble's all over town. You had any social conscience, you'd go somewhere and hang yourself. I can't understand how I tolerate having you around.
Will you get a line on the guy for me?
From the way you described him, it ought to be a lay-down cinch. There's only about 10,000 men in town who'd fit that description. Will 100 or so of them be enough?
I want one. It's a long gamble. But try, will you, Jocko?
Imagine that, with the ocean full of ships hauling guano, bones, cattle, oil, lumber, pineapples, sugar, old newspapers, and gunny sacks. The one boat that has to sink.
Will you get on it?
Oh, there's no hurry. It's only you at stake. So long, lover.
I grabbed some breakfast, picked up a cab, and went out to the address of Alice Stone. It matched a wooden house that looked 2 years older in Utah that was trying to lie about it with a new plaster front and a fresh set of doorknobs. It looked like it had been built by an amateur who read the blueprints upside down. A dame answered the door. She was about tie-pin high to a 6-footer, and she had red hair. The heavy, wavy kind that made you think she must be healthy. But that wasn't hard to do anyway. The way she filled out her morning coat didn't leave much to worry about, except the seams. She could talk, too.
Neighborhood's improving.
You know Alice Stone?
Sure, she lives here. I might have known she'd see you first.
Who are you?
My name's Skip Harper, and Alice isn't home. What can you do with that?
How do you know I want to? Maybe I'm a salesman.
Well, look, mister, you aren't fooling anybody. You look about as much like a salesman as I do a decoy duck. Now, what do you want with Alice, or do you have to be particular?
I can't use her. She's dead.
A salesman with 5 o'clock shadow at 10. You say dead?
Yeah. They found her in a car downtown this morning.
You're a cop.
You're wrong. Why should it worry you?
What do you mean?
You know who did it?
I don't know anything. I just don't like jams. Tell me how it happened.
We were coming down from Tahoe. She was in a roadside hamburger trap. She asked me for a ride, and I sent her out to talk to a guy who owns the car. The next time I saw her, she was tucked away in the trunk.
Why'd a guy kill her, just like that?
That's what I'm after. Maybe he just didn't like dames. There's probably a better reason.
You think maybe he knew her?
Yeah. That's where you can earn a gold star. Did you know anybody by the name of John Brown?
Describe him.
He was playing the wheel at the Broken Tee up near Tahoe. Smooth little guy, about 2 sizes over a jockey. Waxed mustache, a pair of eyes you could use to freeze fish.
So, that one. I know him.
Give me an introduction.
His name's Brown, all right. I didn't know his first name before. He's a small-time hustler around town. Used to take Alice out now and then, when he felt like tearing up a nightclub. Cops arrest him yet?
Hellman, the homicide dick, is knocking on his door about now. I don't expect him to be home.
No, he won't be. He has hideouts.
Name some of them.
I'm afraid to.
He can't hurt you. He's too busy playing cops and robbers.
You don't know Brown.
I gotta get to know him. Give.
I don't want to get mixed up in anything.
Neither do I, but I am. I need Brown.
Why don't you forget Brown?
That'd be bad manners.
What's wrong with bad manners? I know some that are fun.
Yeah, you would.
More fun than Brown will ever show you.
You'll keep. He won't.
Come here. Will this keep? You think?
You have a nice way of changing the subject. But still, where's Brown's hideout?
I won't tell you. He'll kill me.
Yeah, that's a gamble. I'm on the spot, and that's a fact. Talk to me.
I hate men.
Never mind your hobby. Give me Brown.
I hate you, you big, ugly, muscle-bound.
Brown.
You're hurting me.
Make me stop. Tell me where Brown is.
All right. Here's a hideout, a little shack out near the beach.
Narrow it down.
Let go, I'm telling you. And I hope it's the last thing you hear.
From Skip's place out to the beach wasn't much of a drive. I went up and over Twin Peaks, watching the city and the bay spread out beneath the road like a giant map. The sun was working for the Chamber of Commerce that day, and the whole region was glowing. Every backyard was full of clothes blowing in the wind. As the highway neared the beach, it began to turn up bunches of kids on their way to cash in on the weather. John Brown's hideaway was one of those old pioneer shacks built out near the ocean in the old days by guys who wanted to get away from it all. It was painted a weather-beaten brown, tilted a little on one side, and it looked like something that had been washed ashore in a bad storm a long while ago. I knocked on the door, but all that bought me was echoes, so I made a door out of one of the side windows. The inside of the place looked like something out of a hobo jungle. None of the furniture matched. The best piece in sight would have made a junk man sneer. There was a broken-down setup for poker and a tired double bed, and after that you were practically on your own. The kitchen didn't turn up anything but a flock of ants and some empty bottles. I began to get the feeling Brown must have had 2 hideouts, or else he'd left town. It shows you how wrong you can be.
All right, hustler. Reach.
You walk soft.
Practice makes perfect. Turn around slowly. How come you're working without a gun?
Who are you?
This is my place, so you tell me.
My name's Novak. I'm looking for a guy named Brown.
You're all right so far. I'm Brown. Who tipped you off I'd be here?
I don't remember.
No, you don't remember. So let me guess. It was that punk Venanti.
Never heard of him.
Never mind the rube routine. You got hustler written all over you. What did Venanti send you here for? Does he think I know too much?
If I was sent to rub you, do you think I'd come without a gun, start using your head?
I like the way it's working. Tell me more.
I can't tell you anything. You don't fit my blueprints.
Don't get smart with me, hustler. Venanti sent you. Tell me what for.
If you're Brown, you don't need any new worries. You got an armful already.
I'm feeling no pain.
The cops have your car down at the station.
What for?
They don't like 'em with dead bodies inside.
Yeah, steady now. Let's have that again.
A dame named Alice Stone was found stuffed in your trunk. You're hotter than 4 stoves. Laugh yourself out of that.
If you know so much, why aren't you yelling copper?
Don't worry. They're on their way. I'm trying to get the key to the killing.
If this turns out to be a frame...
Look, I saw the guy who did it. I'm the only one who did. That's better than your gun, so treat me nice.
If you saw the murder, you can help me out.
Sure. What do I get for it? A merit badge?
Yeah, things are coming too fast. I got to do some checking.
You better spill what you know, or else I'm liable to forget mine.
You got a nice lever there, hustler. If you can back up your talk. If the dame's dead.
Look who's bargaining.
Before I tell you anything, I need to check around.
Just wait a while. The cops will tell you everything.
I like to find out things for myself.
You will. I got a good grapevine in the county jail.
Now I'll do it the hard way.
You forget I have the lever on you now.
Yeah. Remind me to get scared about that. Try some aspirins for that.
I woke up twice before I decided to make it stay that way. The house was so quiet I could hear someone playing the piano several houses away. It was a nice, clean sound, neat and full of try. No wise guys in it figuring fancy double crosses. No dead bodies. No policemen who argued with their knuckles instead of their heads. Probably some girl who thought a blackjack was a card game. I lay there listening to the music for a while, and I got up and brushed off my clothes. There were 3 places I could find Brown. He wouldn't dare go to his home. He wouldn't return to the hideout. That left Skip's place. On the way over, I stopped at a drugstore and phoned Jocko to find out if he'd turned up anything. You left out the hiccups. It went like this.
Hello, you reprobate renegade from all that's good and holy.
Skip the overture. Did you check on those people I asked you about?
Sure, I found out about them. Old Dr. Madigan and his crystal ball. He knows all and he knows all and like that there.
Tighten it up and tell me some.
That girl Alice Stone, you remember?
How can I forget?
She lived with a dame in the Potrero named Skip Harper. Nice people. The landlord served eviction notices every day except legal holidays.
So they liked a good time. Then what?
Then she owns a half interest in a gambling joint around Lake Tahoe. It's not much of a place. They say the roulette wheels have so many magnets hung around them, the nails began to come out of the walls. Her partner runs the joint, and she shows the suckers in from down here.
How'd you make it the wheels crooked?
I have my informants. I have a network of good drinking folk who get around and hear things all the time. You'd be surprised how careless a guy can get with talk when he's got his elbow in a barroom ashtray. Now, as I was saying...
If the wheels are fixed, how come Brown was able to shake the joint down for $50,000?
I don't know how he did it. Maybe he was wired, too. All I know is that they've got better control of the ball than Bob Feller ever had on his best day. It's easy to believe if you know Skip's partner.
Yeah? Introduce me.
Name's Venanti.
What's that again?
The partner's name's Venanti. He's wanted in 8 states and Cuba.
Venanti. I'll remember the name. How'd you get on Brown?
John Brown? Oh, swell guy. Helped free the slaves. A friend of man. A tribute to the nation.
I've heard that song. Now let's talk about the local Brown.
A small-time hustler. Petty larceny stuff.
You didn't get any tie-ins with Venanti?
Oh, yeah. He was up at the gambling joint near Tahoe last night. Cleaned the place out. $50,000. That would buy a lot of schnapps.
It's beginning to fit together.
No doubt your mighty intellect has found the key.
I can count up to 10 if I don't wear mittens.
Sometimes 13, I'll bet. Well, who did what to whom?
Brown's got a partner working for him.
You don't say.
I'm going over and shake it out of Brown. He must know where the guy's hiding.
Well, don't go looking into too many auto trunks. Those things bite. So long, lover.
What Jocko told me began to give me some hope. The thing the picture needed was one more man, and a partner for Brown would round it out nicely. Yeah, Brown must have figured someone to try to hijack his role and hired a friend to bring it down to San Francisco. I didn't explain the killing. I didn't explain a lot of things. But it was the lead of the guy who could explain it. I needed Brown. As I gunned the car over the hills toward Skip Harper's place, I began to feel better. I was thinking how Hellman would look when I dumped the killer in his lap. There was a crowd along the street in front of Skip's place. Just as I drew up, Hellman came out on the porch. As I got out of the car, one of the neighbors pointed to me.
Novak, huh? They gave me a description, but I didn't think it was you. The guy they described sounded human.
Your jokes stink, Hellman. Try imitating birds or juggling.
The bird imitations are for you, Novak. You'll be singing to the DA any minute now. Come on in the house.
Ah, it's Brown. Where's the dame?
What did you do, kill her, too?
Come off it, Hellman. You can't pin this on me.
I don't have to. The neighbors did it for me.
Why should I kill my alibi?
Because he wasn't. What did you do with the dame, Novak?
Why don't you try thinking for a change?
I do my poor best. For instance, I think you killed the dame in the car and then tried to saw it off on Brown. Then you caught Brown here this morning and killed him.
What for? Or don't you care?
For $50,000, Brown won at the Broken Tee up at Lake Tahoe.
The neighbors saw me come here. They must have seen Brown come here, too, after I'd left.
Nobody saw Brown come. Why didn't you buy a witness, Novak? You can afford it.
The dame's gone?
We haven't looked under the rugs.
How'd you get the dope on Brown winning all that dough?
We phoned Tahoe, bright boy. You heard about the telephone?
Vaguely. Who'd you talk to?
The police. And then a guy named Venanti. He says he remembers you following Brown out. And that the dame was with you, too.
It's a lie.
Sure. But the $50,000 is still missing.
Brown wasn't with me. He was a little guy.
It's the climate. He grew since you two dropped him here this morning.
I need some pictures.
Well, you drop Brown. The dame's going to drive you home. You proposition her on the way to help knock off Brown. She turns you down.
Not those kind of pictures. Are there any photographs around the house?
Yeah, there's some in the bedroom. Why?
Come on, let's look. The way she looked, she'd like cameras.
Here's one on the beach. What's she wearing?
That's a bathing suit. Here's the one. Tahoe.
Well, look at this nightclub gown. How do they hold those things up?
Thumbtacks. So that's Venanti. Look at the two of them posing in front of their sucker trap.
So what?
He's the guy who did it.
Sure, over the phone.
Did you phone him or he phone you?
He phoned.
You want him?
What for? I got you.
He's here in the city, hiding out at Brown's place at the beach. Here's the address.
What kind of a windy is this, Novak?
Pick him up, will you? He said he was at Tahoe, and he is in the city. It smashes his alibi.
All right, but if you're trying any fancy work...
Are you going after him, or do we waltz some more?
How to hold you?
I'll be around. You know that.
What are you going to do?
I got some cleaning up to do. There was only one place for Venanti to be. I headed the car out Potrero and down Bayshore Highway to the airport. I was betting everything on a hunch. Sometimes that's the way you have to play it. Sometimes hunches pay off. The plane I got was built for hurry. Skip still had her overnight bag in her hand when I walked in on them at the Broken Tee. Venanti began to act nervous when he saw me. Yeah, but not Skip. I began to wonder if she'd ever known how it felt to be frightened. You'd never guess it from the way she talked.
Hello, Novak. Don't you ever shave?
I had a close one just now.
Doesn't show.
You don't know where to look.
What do you want, Novak?
I got it.
Don't be cryptic, baby. It doesn't become you.
You don't act nervous. Does you care about jail?
Nobody's going to jail, Novak. Except you, maybe.
I'd be nervous if I had to explain all those dead bodies back in Frisco.
We don't know anything about dead bodies. We've been up here for hours.
Yeah? I had a hunch that'd be your alibi.
That's no alibi, Novak. It's a fact.
It won't gel, Venanti. You're cooked.
Look, Novak. Brown deserved to die. He killed Alice, and before that he fixed the wires on the wheel so he could break this place. He robbed us of $50,000. We had a right to get it back.
Is that what Venanti told you?
That's the way it happened, Novak. There's $10,000 in it for you, if you can remember it that way, too.
$10,000. Easy there, Vin.
That was a little double talk, baby. He was trying to bribe me to dummy up on you.
Dummy up? I know what happened.
When you get through dreaming, try this for a bedtime story. Venanti hired Brown to pick up the winnings while he ran the table. Then with Brown dead, Venanti was going to fly back here in his private plane for the same alibi he's using now. Only he'd own the Broken Tee.
You're lying.
Shut up, Vin. Tell me more, Novak.
The plan began to sour up when Alice tried to thumb a ride. Alice knew him, so he killed her. He still needed to kill Brown, but he figured then he could hang the double killings on me. That'd make it even better.
You're on the needle, Novak.
The only trouble was that Brown wasn't home. Ben had to chase him. When we finally found him, Brown was at your place. I don't know what happened there, except that Venanti must have killed Brown before he had a chance to talk.
How was that? I'd gone to the store.
So when you come back, Brown's dead, and Venanti tells you he did it to recover the money.
Yeah. So you were going to double-cross me, baby.
He's lying, I tell you.
See if you can prove it to a jury.
I should have known.
In case you get any fancy ideas about trying to lie out of it, I got a witness to feel the motor of your plane. It's still hot.
That $10,000 offer still stands.
I need you to clear me.
Yeah. And I could use the sole ownership of this joint.
You wouldn't rat on me.
Oh, watch me, baby. I'll let you rot in jail.
Novak, I'll make it $25,000 if you help me quiet this dame.
You would, Ben? Start out by quieting this.
Yeah, they were lousy shots. They both lived. That is, Venanti lived until he got a bad case of asthma in the San Quentin gas chamber. Skip got off with a flock of scars and some good advice from the judge to stay away from questionable characters. But advice is free, and Skip was the kind who went after the dough, so I see her now and then. She's gone honest, I think. Sometimes we toss dice, and I've known her to lose.
Heard on tonight's program were Ben Morris as Novak, John Galbraith as Inspector Hellman, Jack Lewis as Jocko, and Mary Milford as Skip, with Henry Leff, Jerry Walters, Kurt Martell, and Lucille Bliss. Special music by Otto Clare. Listen next week at this same time when over most of these stations, the American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak for Hire. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Tomorrow morning, the all-star lineup of new 1952 Buicks goes on display at your Buick dealers. And believe you me, they're the smartest, smoothest riding Buicks you've ever seen, with new surprise features you thought years away. So don't miss the fun. Bring the whole family to see the advanced new Roadmasters, the exciting new Supers, and the brilliant new Specials that combine big car luxury with economy price. Yes, don't miss the new 1952 Buicks at your Buick dealers tomorrow.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
The American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak for Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says, Pat Novak for hire. It's about the only way to make a living down on the waterfront in San Francisco. Because if you ever tried to practice the 10 Commandments down here, they'd steal 9 of them and frame you with the other. So I rent boats and do whatever else comes in handy to make a buck change pockets. Sometimes the hustle pays off. Sometimes you get lunch instead. Last week it was neither of these. I hung around my place at Pier 19 day after day and nothing turned up at all. Just when I began to wonder if people had forgotten how to phone, a babe gives me a jingle. She sounds nervous and talks about trouble. Asked me to come up and hold her hand. I ended up at a joint on the marina slant of Webster Street. It was probably important stuff once in the way of gold-plated living. Now it's just a tired wooden boarding house with about 30 people filling up space designed for a dozen. The paint was peeling off the walls. The garden had been on its own so long it was beginning to look like a jungle. When I rang the doorbell, I'd have given even odds a zombie would open it. I was nearly right at that. It was Hellman, a detective from City Homicide with a disposition made up of equal parts of hating people and confusion. Right then, though, he wasn't himself. His fat face was wrapped in smiles. He looked like a cat who'd learned to open the icebox.
Sorry, Novak, we don't want any fish today.
You're being glad. Somebody must have broken their neck.
You're wrong. Again, and as usual.
Somebody had some sort of bad luck.
As bad as you can get.
Dead, huh?
You're too late this time, Novak. The killer's already in the bag.
And you got the drawstring.
I'm not complaining. Now scamper off somewhere and find another sucker.
Put the brush away, Hellman. If you got the killer, it's even money. It turns out to be 4 other people.
I don't know. The department managed before you dragged into town. We stumbled, but we got by.
You can say that about a wine bum.
I can make it fit you. Stumble on out of here, Novak.
Yeah. But first, who done it?
The landlady. She evicted a guy named Burke, the hard one. He didn't live here. He rented a room for some kind of an office. He was a freelance bookkeeper. She said he made too much noise working his machines at night.
Did she confess?
It's open and shut, Novak. No room for your chisel.
Well, if she confessed, maybe you can pin it on her.
What do you mean, pin it on her?
The way you work, you couldn't prove Warren's governor.
That's not my department, but keep on being smart and see if I can prove you'll fit in one of our cells down in Kearney Street.
Don't strain your head, Hellman. I don't want any part of anything you're near, including this place.
I'll buy that, too, and I'll breeze out of here.
When the press shows up, don't worry about giving him your best profile. Either way, you'll look like a sack of potatoes.
Either way, you look like a sack of potatoes. Gee, that's good, Novak.
Before you tell Hellman that, you better go somewhere and grow a little.
Look, Novak, how'd you like a tip on a horse? I got a hot one in the 5th at Del Mar tomorrow.
I got a tip for you. Get out of my hair before I have to comb you out.
Gee, Novak, that's no way to talk. I could be your friend.
The guy was small, even for a midget. Since the rooming house was so full of interesting people, I decided I didn't want to go away after all. So I went back up the steps. Was just going to try my luck when the door opens from inside. The guy with the welcome is either middle-aged or he's done a lot of careful living. His face is as smooth and as neat as a barrel full of apples. You notice it because he acts like he forgot his face when he went into his act. The rest of him is as mysterious as an addict in a B horror picture. I didn't need any puzzles right then, so I started to brush him off. Especially when I noticed his suit. It was so ragged it looked like he was made up to put the bum on the town. But then I decided to play it for the laughs.
How would you like to make some heavy money in a hurry?
I quit buying oil wells.
I'm not fooling, would you?
Who are you?
Name's Jack Lansom. I'm Burke's assistant, or used to be.
Yeah, he looks like quick, easy money. For an undertaker.
For you, too.
Sure. Why not? And how?
Burke has some papers in his home safe that I don't want pawed over by any flatfoot snooper. They're my papers. Burke just kept them there for me. I want you to get them.
I don't see any splints on your legs.
I can walk, but I can't leave. Hellman's going to question all the tenants.
So what do I do?
Go to this address. It's on Nob Hill. Here are the keys. It's a wall safe, not a combination. Just 2 locks you have to open at the same time. The papers are in a sealed envelope marked Lansom Private. Get it and bring it here.
I don't know. When a guy dies, the feds move in. They'll want to list his stuff for taxes.
These aren't financial papers. They're just some private letters and things.
I don't like flirting with the FBI.
How would you like to flirt with $1,000?
If the stuff's worth that much, it must be hot.
I need those papers. Do you get them for me, or do I phone somebody else?
I could change my mind.
Here's $100. There's $900 more when the stuff's in my hands.
You had me fooled there. You don't dress to fit this kind of dough.
So I save my money. Are you going or not?
Give me the keys.
Lots of luck, Novak.
Hey, Novak, wait a minute. About that horse.
Go get a glass of water and drown yourself. It looked like a cinch. I flagged the cab up to the place on Nob Hill. It turned out to be one of those society page joints, all glass, brick, and snobbish doormen. Getting up to Burke's floor was as easy as walking up 6 flights of back stairs. The hall was empty and the key fitted. It was all so easy I began to get nervous. And you would, too, if you walked in on her that way. She was a toy-sized brunette with a perfect kind of face that could mean anything from nice people to quick death. She was smooth and beautiful. I bet you could say that about a whirlpool. If my breaking in bothered her, you'd never guess it from looking.
Oh, hello. Toss your hat on a chair.
I've been working the wrong districts.
I'm glad you're here.
Why, for instance?
Girl gets lonely in a place like this. Berkey's out, and I don't know when he'll get back.
You forgot something there.
Folks call me Blanche. What's your name, friend?
Pat Novak. You go with the lease?
I'm, in and out. Berkey doesn't like me to tell it, though, but everybody knows it, so, what kind of a secret's that?
Didn't I surprise you when I walked in like that?
Berkey has a lot of friends. They come and go. I'm used to it.
For a bookkeeper, Berkey does all right.
He's, good at figures, don't you think?
If he had my account, I'd be nervous.
Don't you know? He just came into a lot of money.
I'll bet that's a comfort to his clients.
Oh, to me, too. Have a cigarette. There's some in the box there on the coffee table.
These are cigars.
Oh? Oh, yeah, well, I have some in my purse.
Never mind. I'll settle for a drink.
Okay. What'll it be?
What do you got?
That's kind of hard to say offhand. Let's look in the kitchen and see. It ought to be up here.
But it isn't. I knew a girl that way once.
Berkey must have moved the bottles. Look around. Try those cabinets. Oh, I'll get there.
Hey, wait a minute. Take it easy.
What's the matter? Jumpy?
Good evening, miss. Is Mr. Novak in?
Yeah, I'm in. You and your horse are both out.
But Mr. Novak, it's a good horse.
You always come in crowds?
That's Pinky. He's been on my tail all night. Aren't you curious about why I'm here?
You must be a friend of Burke's.
Would it matter?
What do you mean?
When you get tired of playing with those doors, let's admit you don't know where Burke keeps his booze. You don't know where he keeps his cigarettes. You don't know anything about the place because this is the first time you've been here.
You're acting like a detective.
Put it down, I'm just curious. And you can still fill in my question.
Why not say I, wandered into the wrong apartment?
You don't seem anxious to get out.
Maybe I like the company here. Come on in the living room. He probably has the liquor in there.
That isn't what you were after.
Why don't we settle for my being lonely?
The town's full of lonely babes. None of them look like you.
I know a cure. Do you?
Let me guess.
Well, I guess when you can be sure. Like this.
Now I know. Fill me in on the rest of your visit.
I'm busy. Or, I could be.
All right, let's close the post office. Did you get the papers?
I could sulk. Men don't usually treat me that way.
They'd live longer if they did. Look, baby, I'm not swinging any bats until I know who's pitching. Do you give with where you fit in, or do I have to bend it out of you?
You know, I think I could like you. The dame gets tired of men she can twist around her fingers.
Yeah, sure. I'm fascinating. Give.
Don't flex your muscles. I'll tell you. Denver Red sent me.
You're sure it wasn't Pittsburgh Pete or Chicago Clark?
He's real. If you aren't too particular about what you call a man. He owns a nightclub called the Knife and Fork out on Geary Street.
Then what?
He sent me to get some papers Burke has hidden around the place. A small envelope.
Did you find it?
Sure. Here it is. You want it?
You give up easy.
I don't have to do this sort of thing to get along. I told Red that.
What else are you going to tell him?
I'll tell him you took the papers away from me. Unless you got a better idea.
Put down your flaps, sister.
What if I didn't go back to him? What if I went with you?
I don't like your recommendations.
Don't worry. I won't pretend I wouldn't drop you as soon as I found a better man. What do you want? Eternity?
I haven't got time for that.
All right, sucker. So, I'll go back to Red. He tears telephone books in half and things like that, so, watch him.
I'll try to manage.
Here's the booze. Let's drink to something or other.
Why not?
You sure you won't change your mind? About anything?
Why don't you leave me your phone number?
I got a better idea. Sucker.
She timed it, but nice. I hardly started to get my hand up before she hit me with a bottle. The room began to spin, and I tried to stand up, but my knees gave way. I could hear her footsteps a long distance away, running. Then the door closed. I shook my head, and some of the cobwebs went away, but not enough for me to get started. By the time they did, I knew it was too late. I looked around, and the package of papers was gone. Yeah, the more I thought of how easily I'd been done in by that dame, the madder I got. Then I remembered no one was supposed to know about the papers except Lansom. Decided I better check on the play. I got on the phone and talked my way through a flock of bars until I ran down an alcoholic friend of mine named Jocko Madigan. He's an old-timer around San Francisco who knows more about the town than the city planning commission. He sounded good over the phone, which must have meant they were watering his drinks.
Patsy, my boy, how are you?
Curious. I'm sitting in on a racket that's beginning to develop too many curves.
You sound like you're in a Girl Scout camp. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, you nasty, immoral, antisocial.
Put down the horn for a minute. I want you to do me a favor.
If I had a daughter, you were even in the neighborhood, I'd lock her in the cellar. I can't imagine what those Boy Scout leaders are thinking about.
They were Girl Scouts a minute ago.
What did they do, pull a switch? And anyway, Boy Scouts don't camp, they hike.
Look, I just got sapped by a dame who stole some papers.
Up Mount Tamalpais, they hiked. That's
Her name's Blanche. She's tied in with a guy named Denver Wren. He runs the Knife and Fork Club out on Geary.
Oh, those poor kids. And that mountain's almost straight up, too.
She just left here. She ought to be heading for Denver Red's place.
What are the papers? I know you don't own them. You can't read.
They have some stuff in them that'll put the heat on a guy named Jack Lansom. He likes it cool. $1,000 worth.
Oh, speaking of money, there's a friend of yours here.
Hello, Patsy. This is Pinky. Imagine me talking to you on the telephone.
Imagine I've gone deaf. Hey, Jocko, if you can hear this, pull that punk off the line.
Okay, he's gone. He said he had a horse for you.
Look, dummy up to that guy. He's been floating around all night.
And I'd be floating, too, if you'd be nice to him.
I'll grab a cab and go out to the Knife and Fork Club. When Blanche shows up, see if you can find out what she does with the papers.
Are you buying the drinks and the cab fare?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I'm going back and see Lansom. This was supposed to be a closed deal, and will you hurry? The dame will be there and gone.
Don't worry about me. You couldn't keep me away from the place. I'm growing wings.
Yeah? Why the sudden lather?
Well, if you're buying the drinks, there's no use my scrimping. I'm suddenly developing an awful longing for some good, well-aged scotch. So long, lover.
I ducked out of the place and started along the street looking for a cab. It was growing foggy and I couldn't see very well. In fact, I could see so little I didn't notice the car drive up. But I could hear the driver all right.
All right, Bub, inside the car.
You must not like arguments.
Don't think it won't shoot either. Get in. You're Patsy Novak, ain't you?
You can say Patsy twice.
Don't sulk. I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah, thanks for the ride.
I'm Reynolds. Gong Reynolds. Ever hear of me?
Yeah. You sell pipe dreams.
If you know that much, you know that shoveling the snow ain't no job for a preacher.
So you're tough. Then what?
And you give me Burke's little envelope.
What is this, a mass meeting?
You pass it over, or do we have to go out in the country and get it twisted out of you?
You're wrong twice. I haven't got it.
You must think I'm foolish.
Someone beat me to it.
Who, Murphy?
Murphy.
Yeah, the bookie. Did he get it?
A dame. She said she was working for Denver Red.
Out at the Knife and Fork? Well, that sounds all right.
Hey, what's up?
You don't know?
I was hired to pick it up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I believe that.
Take it or leave it, but let me out of here.
Don't get nervous. Wait till we hit a quiet street.
I'm broad-minded. Let me off anywhere.
I said a quiet street. Before you go, I'm going to search you. How do I know you ain't lying?
I'm beginning to wonder myself. Reynolds was a nice guy for an opium peddler. No bumps, no scars. He even dropped me near a car line. Pretty soon I began to breathe regularly again and headed back to the place on Webster Street. The house was dark except for a light in one of the upstairs windows. Just as I was leaning on the bell, I hear someone coming up the steps behind me.
I wish you'd stay put, Mr. Novak. Now, about that horse. He's a beautiful animal. Affectionate.
Look, I'm tired of this shadow act. What's your pitch?
Straight over the plate, Novak. I'm doing you a favor. Someday I may need one from you. I'm far-sighted.
Well, I'm nearsighted. Come here.
Hey,
Light up and be somebody. What's your racket?
Put me down, Novak. I got connections. You can't scare me.
Yeah, I can try.
Going in for kidnapping midgets, Novak? Put him down and come on in. I don't want to draw a crowd.
Make this the last time I see you, Pinky, or I'll fix it so you wish you had.
Who was that?
I don't know. I'm beginning to get curious.
Forget it. You got the envelope?
No.
Don't sound so cheerful. Why not?
Somebody changed my mind. Too much competition.
Keep it understandable. What do you mean?
Every tough monkey in town is after those papers, and Denver Red has the inside track.
Who else? Tell me about the others.
Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know about them.
I know how you feel. I didn't know a lot of things either, but I'm beginning to learn. Start talking.
Burke used to keep books for a lot of guys around town. That's where he really got his money, covering up the racket profits from the revenue boys.
Don't stop there.
That's all I know.
It's not enough.
All right. I don't know, but I can guess. Burke must have photostats of some of the records and use them to blackmail the gangsters.
So it's a free-for-all with me in the middle.
I didn't know about it, honest, I didn't.
You didn't know, but I get slapped, sapped, and held up. Good for me.
You say Denver Red got the papers?
And he can have them. I'm bowing out.
Your $100 is nothing, don't you see? Get the papers and we'll both be rich. Richer than anyone in town.
No dice. You want them, you get them.
I'll give you $5,000.
How much down?
Here's the rest of the $1,000 I promised you. Is that fair?
Fair enough.
We're going to be rich, you hear? Rich.
Yeah. The richest men in the cemetery. Lansom must have thought I was the biggest sucker in the city. I was through with the papers as soon as I discovered how hot they were. I could have told him, but when I saw how anxious he was, I figured I might as well use his shakes to get the rest of the $1,000. I headed out to the Knife and Fork, but my only plan was to get Jocko off the hook. After that, I wanted a lot of time in the country until things cooled off. The joint was out near Golden Gate Park, one of those community center places where you get everything that'll go in a stomach, including bicarbonate. The brunette doll was nowhere in sight, but I saw Jocko over at the bar wrestling with a double-sized highball, eased over beside him.
Well, if it isn't the Boy Scout, Patsy Novak.
That stuff's beginning to eat into your head, Jocko.
Don't you worry. My lobes are functioning smooth as ice in a glass. What can I do for you after you pay the bill?
Did the Dame Blanche show up here?
Yeah, about half hour ago. What kept you? She's pretty.
So's a tiger. Where is she?
She and your friend Denver Red went upstairs. He has an apartment up there. Now, that's the way to live. If he bored a hole in the floor and ran a pipe down to the bar...
Did you see the papers?
No, and do you know a guy named Reynolds, Gong Reynolds?
We've met.
He was in here. He looked around and ducked out.
Did he go upstairs?
I don't know. You're running in big company. Reynolds and Denver Red are two of the most powerful gangsters in town. If they've got anything to do with this, you better cash in your chips and get out of the game.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm all washed up with this.
I heard something else, too. This guy Lanson is no country boy either.
Measure him for me.
The grapevine has it he used to be a member of Murder Incorporated, the Brooklyn outfit. He got out before they grew into big-time operators.
Three of a kind. What do you know about Murphy?
Don't tell me Murphy's in on this. Murphy's got the horse wires sewed up. He sewed it up with bullets. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I will in a minute. How do you get to Denver Red's shack?
The entrance is outside, but what do you care? Let's get out of here.
In a minute.
Patsy, they're hotter than summer in Panama. Leave them alone.
I'd kind of like to see that envelope.
Try the post office. It's full of envelopes.
Yeah, not this one. You coming with me?
No, Patsy. If you've lost your mind, you've lost it alone.
I'm beginning to wonder about that.
Well, so long, lover.
I worked out of the place without causing any fuss. Eased into the apartment entrance. The place was quiet. It was so quiet you could hear me breathing as I worked my way up the stairs. There was a carpet in the halls, but even then I was careful. I listened at the door, and there wasn't a sound inside. After a while, I tried the knob. The door opened. With the fog outside, you could barely make out anything in the place. Something told me to back out and forget it. There was something I wanted to know. I held my breath and listened. All I could hear was the jukebox faintly from the cafe below. And I felt for the light switch.
Don't move. You're covered.
What are you waiting for, Hellman? The payoff?
You, baby. Keep your hands up. Where's the gun?
I ate it.
I guess it wasn't much good at that. You didn't have any bullets left.
You counted them?
I counted the bullets in the body. 6 bullets, 1 load.
Who got it? Or do I have to guess?
Denver Red and his dame. Name's Blanche. Know her?
Yeah, I know her. She used to roast stroke ore in my lifeboat.
She looks the type. You want to tell me about it, or do we go downtown first?
I didn't kill him, Hellman.
Who made those holes in them? Termites?
If they did, you better keep your hat on. They might get hungry again.
You got all the brains, Novak. You better shake them up. You're going to need them.
You ought to get a refund on that crystal ball, Hellman.
That's not a bad idea. Or maybe I can swap it for a television set.
I'd like to see you on those San Quentin broadcasts.
You saw me come in, you fathead. You can't pin this one on me.
It's pinned, Novak, but good. In fact, it's a hat pin.
Try making sense.
Try making this knot fit your head.
This is my hat.
Now all you got to do is get rid of the 5 people who saw you wearing it earlier this evening at the boarding house, and you're clear.
We were halfway down to the Hall of Justice before I could talk Hellman into giving me another chance. Murphy was really the one who cinched it. I picked him up by phone at one of his bookie joints with Hellman listening in on an extension. Yeah, it was short and sweet.
Novak? Yeah, I've heard the name. What's itching you?
This may not be my business, but I got a good reason for wanting to know.
Spread it out, Novak. I got work to do.
Did you get a phone call tonight about an envelope with some photostatic copies of a bunch of records?
What's it to you, Novak?
You did then.
Yeah, some nut, I guess. Didn't give his name. Town's full of them these days.
He wouldn't be a nut if Burke had something on you.
Hey, what is this? Burke's got nothing on me. I pay my taxes. What is this, Novak? Some new form of shakedown?
Yeah, Murphy. But you're not up the tree. Thanks a lot.
Hey, it could fit.
I get a chance to prove it?
I can't let you go, Novak. But what if I should bend over for a minute to pick up this pencil and the door open and all?
Try it and see, Hellman. Just once. After that, I began to figure my bad luck had run out for the day. I jumped a cab and went down to the waterfront, but not to my pier. There was a guy at Pier 23 who was a friend of mine. He had a gun and a rowboat, and I borrowed both of them. I pushed off without being too careful, because between the wind and the cross-chop, nobody was going to be hearing anything. Even with everything on my side, it was a long, hard row. When I hit the bottom of the ladder at the end of Pier 19, I had to sit in the boat to let my heart slow down. It was blacker than the inside of Hellman's dress shoes. I took my time edging down the pier. I was just about to slide into my boathouse when I tripped a booby trap. I did a Brody, and somewhere along the line I lost my gun, which put me even up with Lawson. He turned on the lights.
Novak, you have to sneak up in your own office? You ought to pay the rent regular.
Save the gags. You fix up this welcome?
I was all alone and didn't like the idea of being caught from behind.
What would you do about a frontal attack?
I've got this gun. But since it's only you, I don't have to worry.
I wouldn't say that. I think you've got all kinds of worries.
Everybody has got something.
And you've got Reynolds.
Where is he?
Take it easy. I just saw him earlier tonight, and he mentioned your name.
Let's keep that for the society column. I'll take the envelope.
I didn't get it for the simple reason that there isn't any envelope.
That fall on the head make it soft? You told me you saw it.
Nothing important. Just some regular business letters. Nothing that'd stand up in court.
I still don't understand this. You don't make sense.
And I don't make dough either. I don't have the envelope. Or do you want to search me?
I'm not getting that close to you. You're going off on some tangent that I don't understand. So we'll just sit and wait till you get ready.
Or until Reynolds gets here.
That's supposed to scare me?
Look at it this way. You don't mind if I talk?
I can listen. No, you sit there, with your back to the door. That's right. Now I'll just warm the place up by closing the door. Now, you were saying?
Suppose that the envelope was a phony. After I am on my way, you call up all the big-time hoods in town and tip them off.
Now tell me why.
The boys start pouring out of the woodwork to give me the business. And the ones who chase me are the boys on Burke's list. Then you could pick up where he left off. I'm not boring you, am I?
Not at all. Go on.
Everything was as cozy as an upper berth until Denver Red gets his girl into Burke's place before I make it.
You're everything but consistent. Now you'll be trying to tag me with the stiffs down at the Knife and Fork.
Thanks for the cue. You knew that if Denver Red spotted the envelope for a phony, the news would be all over town and your racket would be kaput, so you killed him.
Nice figuring. You should have been a bookkeeper, too.
You even told me to come down here so you could kill me if that planted hat didn't frame for the cops.
I hate to disappoint you. So since you know everything else, you might as well know the caliber of this gun. See?
I've looked into things like that before.
Everything has to end sometimes, so... Don't touch that phone.
I ordered that call, just in case.
I said don't touch it.
You'll be hearing worse bells than that if you don't let me answer it.
Okay, but watch your language.
Novak speaking.
For a minute, I thought you was out. You're the hardest man to get hold of. But I guess it's because you're a busy guy.
Well, say something.
That's right, Reynolds.
Huh? This is Pinky, Mr. Novak, remember? Pinky Punk. What a name.
That's up to you, Reynolds.
What's he saying?
You want to talk to him?
You still there, Mr. Novak? I'm Mr. Novak.
Give me that phone. Now, look, Reynolds. I'm not taking any talk off you. You pay up or else...
You dropped something, Mr. Novak?
Yeah. How about that horse?
You want to get onto him?
I think I can toss a sawbuck into his feed bag.
Oh, gee, Mr. Novak, you'll never regret it.
Okay, Pinky. Who's the goat? Pinky, I said, what's his name?
Gee, Mr. Novak. What do you know? I forgot.
Pinky might have forgotten, but Lansom's memory was good. I handcuffed him to the chair and told him Reynolds would be down in a half an hour. Then gave him Hellman's phone number. He confessed to everything after sitting alone in my office for a while. I know how he felt. When the feds got the news, they moved in with a fine tooth comb, but they never did turn up anything. Nobody ever did. I'm pretty sure of that. But now and then I get the idea maybe I'm wrong. So I start nosing around for those papers. I never find the things. I usually find Reynolds instead. He's beginning to get gray. Who killed the bookkeeper? That was the landlady. Yeah, Hellman got her a room, too.
Heard on tonight's presentation were Ben Morris as Novak, John Galbraith as Inspector Hellman, Jack Lewis as Jocko, and Mary Milford as Blanche, with Herb Ellis, Jerry Zinneman, Kurt Martell, and Dick Ellers. Special music by Otto Clare. Listen again next week at this same time when over most of these stations, the American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak for Hire. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Get a can of Dr. Lyon's tooth powder today for a few cents at any drugstore. See what a surprise you get the first time you use it. We believe you'll never again return to ordinary, less effective ways of cleaning your teeth.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.